Just about set for puck drop here. These two teams haven't met, since last year. The Mason Blues swept a 2-game set in Ann Arbor. RPI's last win came in 2009. Tom, I believe both you and I were there at the Great Lakes Invitational. That was an exciting game, a 4-3 win for RPI.
That was a real exciting game too, especially when you consider that I was in Detroit. The whole place was full of Michigan fans.
Yep.
I remember sitting with a little group of Michigan Tech fans who were certainly willing to root for the
kind of band together.
It was an awful lot of fun. That game, it was kind of a revelation for Michigan because RPI actually chased their goaltender from that game. I forget who it was that came
Campbell.
in.
Oh, Campbell was a starter, yeah.
But whoever came in for them in that game didn't pick up the victory, but he was the starter for most of the rest of the season for Michigan. And they almost made the tournament, the national tournament, on the back of that goaltender. So in some ways, that RPI game in 2009 a turning point for Michigan, but perhaps not quite the finish that they want. The Engineers are going to be looking for a finish just like that here tonight.
Michigan has not played in the Houston Fieldhouse since 1985, January of that season. RPI went on to win the national title, of course, their second in school history. We are underway from the Houston Fieldhouse as it trickles into RPI territory. Milos Babella on it, gave it away. Shot coming, saved by Kasdorf to the far circle. Shot is blocked over there. Jake Wood battling for it. And it's scooped out of the zone and in the air by Prapavesis out to center. Turned right back around by Michigan. They come into the zone. Working their way in. Shot comes, goes wide. Wood trying to poke it out to center. Gets blocked up. Picked up Prapavesis. Prapavesis is a sophomore. Dallas Stars draft pick from Oakville, Ontario. Works ahead to Chris Bradley, who fires it in from center ice. It'll be gloved down by Nagelvort as he'll try the far side, way out to center. Parker Reno is going to let it play all the way to Jared Wilson. He'll spin it behind his own goal. Karams all the way around. Couple tries ahead for Miller rather. Can't get it out of the zone. Kept in by Roca and dumped in deep by Michigan. That's Justin Selman. Had a big night yesterday. Tied for the team lead with 5 points as the shot goes trickling wide into the near corner of the RPI zone. Cycling there. In deep by Boca. And now kept in. Parker Reno, Jr. Near side, trying to get it out. Another pinch there by Nicholas Boca, the freshman from Plymouth, Michigan. Active along the near side point area. And now controlled by the Engineers. It's Melanson looking for that outlet pass, trying to find Nanny. It goes in deep. He got a piece of it across the red line, so no icing. Picked up far side. That's Brendan Warren for Michigan. And now back to De Jong. Nolan De Jong, the junior from Victoria, British Columbia, will track down the puck behind his own goal. Played up the far wall now for Warren, the draft pick of the Arizona Coyotes. In deep they go. Hampton has his man tied up. He knocked him down. That was Cooper Marody. Now Hampton has it pinned against the wall behind the goal. We're just 2 minutes in here from the Houston Fieldhouse. No score, RPI and the University of Michigan. Evan Tierney digs it out of there and feeds it ahead for Orval. Orval down the middle trying to find Bourbonnais. Squeaks through everybody to the far corner of the Michigan zone. Bourbonnais runs into Martin back there. Played up the boards and a nice little touch pass, and Michigan's out to center. 2-on-2 as they hit the RPI line. Shot coming. Shoulder saved by Kasdorf. Up in the air. It'll come down in the far corner. We play on. Played in deep. First one to it, Warren. Trying to bump him off the puck is Bradley. They tie up. Trying to dig it out of there, Marody. Marody gets hit by Tierney. Pulled off the wall and moved back towards the point. Shot in deep again. Prapavesis dangerously out in front. A little shot and they score. Michigan's on the board. It's Brendan Warren with his first collegiate goal. And Michigan takes the lead.
And not a good defensive showing by the Engineers there. They had a couple of opportunities with the puck deep in their zone to be able to get that moved at least out of harm's way, but a couple of really bad maneuvers by the Engineers defense kept that puck deep down, and really that was just left there for Warren to pick up. And there wasn't really much that Jason Kasdorf was going to be able to do about it that close. He actually had a screen on him as well. I think that was one of the Engineers players in front of him. Tierney was basically in front of the net.
And Bradley.
And Chris Bradley, so definitely not a situation you want to be putting your own goaltender in, but it's pretty easy for Warren to just find that seam and make it 1-0 in favor of the Wolverines.
Not a sharp start here. A start for RPI, and then they ice it right off the center ice face-off. 17-11 on the clock, first period. Wolverines have a 1-0 lead over RPI here. And when you have a big crowd like this, Tom, it's important to get them into the game early.
You gotta show a little bit more spirit than RPI has shown early. And Michigan looks like they've done exactly what they needed to do too. They've come out with a lot of fire. They've kind of jumped on RPI early, kept them back on their heels, and that's taken the crowd out of the game early.
To the far corner it goes. Parker Reno behind for Jared Wilson. He nearly has his pocket picked by Short. That's Max Short. But the Engineers are able to come away with it. Reno up the wing. Gillespie into the zone. Fulton tracks it down far corner. Pulls it back. Falls down. He lost an edge. Did Travis Fulton. Coming over to help out was Schrader. Now a centering pass all the way through. Jared Wilson trying to tee one up. Fires one off a skate. Caroms to the far side half wall. Picked up by Danks. They'll move it out to center. Turn right back around by Fulton. Stick handling neatly through the center ice logo. Finds Schrader. He'll just play it into the zone. Get a change. Outlet pass to center ice. Here they come into the zone. It's Dexter Danks from Vancouver, BC. Works it in deep, taken away by Milos Babella. Babella meandering through center on his move. It's a 3-on-2 now into the zone with Bradley. A shot off the side of the net. Leaves it there for Bradley, who's in deep with Babella. Babella tied up, tries to force his way out. Try to play it back to the point. Good stick there to break it up. And now back come Kyle and the Wolverines. Looking for a backhand play in front, loose in the slot. It's swatted at and put wide by Comfort. As they tie up in the corner, centering pass. Bradley trying to get a stick on it, finally gets it ahead, and they move it out to center. It's Wood. He'll just chip it in and chase after it. Liljegren's going to be the first one to it. Victor Liljegren to the far corner. He's being watched by DeJong as they scrap away over there. Wood comes in and lays a hit into the side of one of the Wolverines. They go down. Now Kyle back to his own zone to settle things down. DeJong shooting it all the way down. They wave off the icing as it's picked up by Mears Moore. Moore for Melanson. He'll skate to center. Cross ice feed through everybody. Nanny didn't get a touch. It'll be icing on the Engineers. Although it was Nagelvoort who came out to play it. They'll say it was because he didn't realize would have been an icing call.
Even strength goal for the Michigan Wolverines. Scored at 2:40 of the first period. Goal scored by Brendan Warren, first of his collegiate career. And the assists coming from freshman Cooper Marody and sophomore Cutler Martin. That was an even strength goal for the Michigan Wolverines. Has them up 1-0 here with 15:23 left in the first period.
Center ice draw upcoming. Nanny loses it off to Selman. And the Wolverines take over in their own zone. Martin ahead for Selman, who takes a bump. Turned right back around. Moore lost it in his skate. Flung out to center. And he needed to. That was Nanny doing the defensive job. Now Hampton for Melanson. Center ice. RPI down 1-0 here. 5 minutes into the first period. Melanson trying to move his way around the defender. And now moved to center ice. One-timer Fandon all the way to Wilson. His shot comes all the way through. Now hit bodies. Miller trying to track it down in the far corner. Miller playing his first game. He gets upended. And it's back out to center. Slowed down a bit by Reno, but they move in anyway. Here's Selman in. Shot off the leg of Wilson. Selman back on it in the corner. Pulling it back out towards the point. He's tied up nicely by Wilson. Taken away, and a shot right on. Kasdorf was screened a bit. And the opportunity came from Kyle Connor, one of the bright freshmen in the NCAA hockey. 5 points for him so far in just the 3 games. And that was a tough one. Didn't look like it initially, but Kasdorf had to make a nice save.
He did indeed. And he was equal to the task. A shot like that is usually not going to be much of a bother for Jason Kasdorf. He got down in the correct position pretty quickly and was able to make a nice save for RPI. Over down on the other side of the ice in net for the Wolverines. Mentioned his name a couple of times so far. Zach Nagelvoort, a junior out of Holland, Michigan. He is a 2014 draft selection of the Edmonton Oilers. So we've got a pair of NHL draftees on the ice in net tonight. The Holland, Michigan native playing in only his second game of the season so far. He did win that first game that he was active in. Goals against average of 2.01 and a 905 save percentage. But
he just played the one game.
With only one game, it's not really much to take away from those numbers. But for his career at Michigan, 238 and a 919 save percentage. Not stellar, but probably enough to keep Michigan in most games.
Right.
The offense
they score some goals, as they did last night, tying Union 5-5. Important to mention that. Michigan was down 3-1 after 2. A wild third period over in Schenectady allowed them to come back and tie that game. They tied it up with 30 seconds left in regulation.
That's one of those ones where if you're the Dutchman, not a tie that you like.
Shot from the point, didn't get through. That was Werenski. As they scrap in the near corner of the RPI zone, trying to dig it out. Bourbonnais. Turning with it is Marody. Centering pass all the way through. They were trying to find Tony Calderon, the sophomore from Trenton, Michigan. Puck went all the way down the ice. Wolverines will track it down behind their own goal. Michigan in those helmets, so very familiar to sports fans. Also the same style on the football helmets, of course, and it's something that once you see that design, you think Michigan right away. Or I believe the University of Delaware had similar stylings on their helmets as well, but not quite the same effect. Here's Tierney's down the middle of the ice. Good find. Bourbonnais into the zone. Pulls it back. Takes the shot right on. It's stopped there by Nagelvert, and he will cover that one up. No rebound.
A little bit of pushing and shoving in front of Nagelford as the Engineers went hard after that rebound. It's kind of a 3-on-1 there as Tierney is getting backed away by an official. Referees tonight, Kevin Curtis and Chris Pitoshka. Probably just butchered that. Sorry, Chris.
Pitosha, maybe.
Linesmen are Glenn Cook and Jim Briggs.
Supposed to be is a sellout officially according to the Houston Fieldhouse, and fans still filing in to the rink. Haven't had a whole lot to cheer about so far, with Michigan taking a 1-0 lead early. Draw to the left of Nagelvort, and someone's getting tossed here from the dot. It is Schrader, so Gillespie comes in to face off against Comfort. Pulled away by the Wolverines and taken behind, it's Boca. Near side, moved out by Kyle. In deep it goes. Hampton trying to chase it down. He ran into Mott, and it comes free to the far side. Kyle back to the point. DeYoung pulls it back, had a shot blocked, picked up Hampton. Hampton off the glass, out to center. Kyle will try to settle it down as DeYoung rather, stole it away. Moore into the attack, pulls it back. He fired off a skate, or a stick rather, played behind. That's what Mears Moore is capable of, joining the rush, setting up the rush, and he did so there. Nearly turned into a chance for RPI. Schrader cycling for Gillespie down low. Gillespie around to the near side corner, trying to play it back to the point. Another good stick there, and it's the same guy. It's Kyle who moves it out to center all by himself, 1-on-2 into the RPI zone. Comfort trailing, tried to find him, stolen away, and flipped out further by the Engineers. Fulton ahead for Wood. Wood on the backhand, driving the net, throws it in front. It's swept away at the last second. Good back check there. That was Kyle Lohan. And now kept in at the far point by Reno. Boca takes a look around, takes a hit from Wood. They both go down. Played up the boards for Danks. Wood, again, trying to find the puck in the corner. Played around to the near side. Pinching in is going to be Wilson. Wilson throws a body there into Kyle. Then it puck came up high, and Mabella trying to keep the zone. He did. Picked up Liljegren near circle. Turning, looking, fires a tight angle shot way wide. Carries to the far side circle, and out to center comes Comfort. JT Comfort, junior captain for these Wolverines, plays it into the RPI zone, goes off on a change. Left behind the net for the Engineers, it's Parker Reno. Near side for Jared Wilson, the sophomore blue liner from Calgary, Alberta. Up ahead for Nanny, too far for him. It'll be tracked down in the corner there by Downing, who took a spill into the backboards. Along the half wall, they dig away. Some hooks being thrown in there, and now it's Michigan to center. 3-on-2 if they can turn on the Jets here. Puck kind of bounces around, poked into the zone. Engineers have it. They'll try to feed it out to center and do. Downing right back into the RPI zone. He'll get a change. It'll roll all the way around to the near side boards, but not out of the zone. Bradley trying to help it out with Melanson. There's just one Wolverine there, but he's doing the job. It's Evan Allen, junior from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Fired off the glass behind the goal. Kept in back there by Warren, the goal scorer. Tie up behind the cage. Mabella helps it up the boards for Nanny. Nanny trying to move it out to center. Didn't quite have the effort he needed. Now it's out to center. A couple of Wolverines need to touch up. That'll allow the Engineers to take over in their own end. Chris Bradley with it there. 11:14 left in the first period. 1-0 Michigan. Up the near wall. Melanson gets a touch on it. Right in front of the RPI bench. He gets shoved by Ciccone. But it's taken over by Michigan in their own end now as it leaked out that way. Into the RPI zone. Spun in deep by Marodi. Back to get it Hampton. A couple of Wolverines jumped the gun, so they need to touch up and do. Center ice pass all the way through. Comes off a stick, so it will not be icing. It's played by Werenski. Werenski dodges a forechecker, plays it far side in his own zone for Marodi. Marodi out to center ice. Stick checked away, stays on the puck. Trying to feed it in front. It came all the way through in the air. Not much they could do about it. It's flipped out to center by Orval. Into the zone they come. Hampton's shot was blocked by DeYoung. Played to the near side corner of the Michigan end. Played back behind by Calderon. Up the wall softly for Stewart. Stewart stick handling, works it out to center ice. Right back into the RPI zone, or the Michigan zone, I should say. Taken over there by Nicholas Boca, freshman from Plymouth, Michigan. Has a point so far this year in 3 games. Boca crosses center and rings it in. Stopped behind the cage by Wilson. Fans trying to get behind the hometown squad here as we're halfway through the first period. Nanny chipping it near side behind everybody. Melanson stops up and flips it in deep. Miller will chase. DeYoung there takes a hit from Miller. Miller goes down, played back to the point, but nobody home. Kind of split the two defensemen all the way down the ice. 9:44 on the clock in the first period. Jason Kasdorf stops it behind his own cage. Played back behind by Wilson. Lost in the skates of Reno, and that'll bring the Michigan forecheck on the hunt there. It's scooped into the air, into the far corner of the Michigan zone now by Melanson. Melanson out of the corner. Trying to play it back near point. Nobody home again. Just some miscommunication on some passes here that have not allowed the Engineers to keep the puck in the zone when they get offensive possession time. Now moved in Melanson, who was at the end of a shift. He'll actually just trying to play it deep, stolen away by Warren, and Michigan has it behind their own net. Far side trying to keep it in. Prapavesis can't do so. Ties the puck up. Gillespie comes to help out, and he'll backtrack into his own zone. Back for Bradley. Bradley far side. Prapavesis takes his defensive zone spot. Now fires it down the middle. Good connection into the zone. Schrader far side. Fulton a shot. That one blockered away into the near corner by Nagelvoort. Up the near side boards. Comfort. His cross ice pass is broken up by Reno. They'll slow the breakup out as Michigan resets in their own end. Saccone, near side, given away. Walking in Tierney's. Drop it back Gillespie. Another drop pass. Reno, a shot. He put it high. Gillespie again. He'll cycle. Trying to find Fulton. Best chance for RPI so far came off the stick of Parker Reno. Joining the offensive attack. Top of the far circle, but he missed the net over the top. Now back to Wood in the zone. Flipped back out to center by the Wolverines. And another chance for Reno. Played with a high stick, but Michigan's the next to touch, so we play on. A little over 8 to go in the first period. Michigan with a 1-0 lead on the first collegiate goal by Brendan Warren. Skated out to center by Michigan as they move it ahead. Right end wide of goal, picked up by Babella. He's tied up, poked out to Wood. He throws it cross ice. Trying to find it was Liljegren. Swatted right back in by Saccone. Kasdorf plays it off for Wilson. Wilson cross ice feed behind Babella. He'll stop in the neutral zone with it. Backhands it blindly ahead. Saccone takes it away. Stopped at the RPI line, and now Karam's right to Liljegren, who feeds it ahead for Wood. Can't quite control the pass. Now Liljegren again. He'll drive behind the net. Watched by Saccone. Still Liljegren. Fans want a penalty. Nothing as of yet, as it's poked free, and now Michigan trying to break the other way. Into the zone is Warren. A slap shot over the top. Karam's off the glass and out of play. We get a stoppage with 7:23 to go in the first period. Wolverines on top, 1-0.
Yeah, about 45 seconds ago, Perry, RPI with probably easily their best opportunity of the game, kind of turned into a mini 3-on-1 once the puck was moved back to Parker Reno. One of those things where you want to move it to a guy who's where they're not, give them the opportunity to do something with the open ice that they've got in front of them. If you had your choice, Parker Reno probably not the number one guy you want in that position right there, but that's where he was, so you got to give it to him and give him the opportunity to try and shoot it. Reno, not one of RPI's better offensively minded defensemen. He's more in the lineup to provide that defense along the blue line for RPI. His career numbers really kind of bear that out. He doesn't have an awful lot of points for his career, just 4 overall, although 2 of them are goals, so you never know. But not a highly offensive guy who's taken that shot and it ended up going over the net. So kind of a tough break there for the Engineers, but sometimes you got to make do with what you got, and that was probably the right move for RPI to move the puck to him. He had plenty of space. A more talented, maybe offensive-minded player, even a forward, might have buried that. But you got to do what you got to do.
Prapavesis off the defensive zone draw, works it ahead to Bourbonnais. He was tied up, plays it back to Prapavesis. And now Bradley, near side, all the way down the ice, trying to find Tierney's. This will be icing on RPI. And we'll have another stoppage.
Among the top names in Michigan's lineup tonight is sophomore Zach Wierenski. The Grosse Pointe, Michigan native is 18 this year because he accelerated his education to enroll last season at Michigan when he played as a 17-year-old. He was the 8th overall draft pick in the last draft by the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that could probably use his services right now since they're 0-8 to start the season off. He was the 3rd highest selected college player in last year's draft behind BU's Jack Eichel and BC's Noah Hannafin. Both of those players now dressing for NHL teams.
Face off to the left of Kasdorf. Push back towards the point. Boca vacated the zone, so the Engineers are able to clear. Spinning around at his own blue line. And moving it ahead is Connor. Chipping into the corner. Taking a look around is Warren. And now cycling Kyle Connor from Shelby Township, Michigan. Wraparound try. That one off the base of the net. Kasdorf may have got his goaltender stick on it. Bradley helping up the boards. Engineers trying to break out. Now they have a chance to go 4-on-2, but they give the puck away. And that's not going to make the coaching staff happy as they're back the other direction. Connor into the zone, wrists one through a screen, went wide. And now again RPI out to center ice, too far for Miller. Everything just off the mark, just a hair for RPI, and it's really all that will do the job if you're the Engineers trying to break the other direction. Just a matter of inches sometimes. Prapavesis behind his own net after a Michigan dump in. He'll try the far side. They move it out to center on the skate. Orval stick handling through center. Make it Miller rather. He takes the drive right on, and Miller showing whatever injuries he may have had, leg, arm, or otherwise, are back to full strength. And he got all of that one, but it was right into the midsection of Nagelvoort.
A good shot by Mark Miller there. He takes it right from the top of the near face-off circle. Right into the M on Nagelvoort's chest, but sometimes you just got to rip one of those shots, especially when you're coming back from injury. Kind of prove to yourself that you still got a nice little wrister. That's exactly what we saw right there from Mark Miller.
Played up the far boards and pinch play. Now a 2-on-1 chance for Michigan into the zone. Comfort on the backhand, tried to stuff it in. It was a good defensive play by Wilson. He took the other man right out of the play, turned it into a 1-on-1. Now a shot comes all the way through. Kausdorff made the save on the try from Michael Downing. Back behind the RPI goal. Bouncing behind the cage now, taken away by Kyle. Back to the point, Downing. A wrist shot. That comes all the way through. Kausdorff never saw it. Comfort near corner. Gets bumped by Miller. Trying to stay with him, he can't. Comfort on the backhand. Turning and fanning on the shot. Poked up to center, and here comes Melanson. Melanson moving in. A shot sticked away by Nagelvoort. Melanson again on the puck. Far side circle. Tried to feed it in front. Ill-advised pass comes all the way through now to center. They took a deflection. Moore will fire it back in. Melanson showing those afterburners there as he just took the puck and sped down ice. He had a defenseman on his hip, but his shot was turned away. That was Downing doing the back checking there. Melanson showing why he is so very dangerous for this RPI team offensively. Hampton, tie up in the near corner. Fulton there to help out. It goes back to Moore. Moore leaves it for Hampton behind the RPI cage. Under 5 to go in the first period. Still 1-0 Michigan leading. Played glove down on the far side boards by Allen. It'll go behind the goal. Schrader's there for RPI. Pins it away from Stewart. High play off the glove. Did it touch the glove is the question. All the way down. It will the icing. They'll say it did not. It was Cutler Martin who was trying to glove it down the line. Looked like he was close, but they'll say no, icing on RPI.
Michigan does have a key player that's not in the lineup tonight. Senior Boo Nieves, who really torched RPI last year in Ann Arbor. I was at those games remembering. He was kind of a one-man wrecking crew that night. He's a native of an area just outside of Syracuse, the top returning scorer for Michigan. Not in the lineup tonight, but Michigan still holding a 1-0 lead nonetheless with 4:24 left in the first period.
Played behind the RPI goal. Hampton has it. Shot it off a skate. Could have gone anywhere. Caromed right to Moore, who was standing next to him. And then a fortuitous bounce for RPI. They move it out to center. Wood. He'll dump it in. He'll chase it down. Played around to the far corner. Too far for Schrader. Haven't seen a lot of Evan Tierney in this game. Called his name earlier. That wasn't even him. As it's played up the far side boards. Turning with it was Selman. He's tied up by Prapavesis. And now Wood for Liljegren. Got tangled up in the slot. Don't want to lose it there. Out to center. Picked up by Wood. Wood on it. He'll just bring it in off the boards. Comes down off the dasher in the far corner. Prapavesis pinching in to help out as De Jong plays it behind. Big collision there. Wood threw his body around. Fans applaud. That's really all they've had to cheer about so far in this one. Mears Moore back with it. Engineers trying to give him a reason to get fired up here as it's played all the way down. They say it could have been played. Oh boy. Thought Babella might have touched it anyway, but no, icing again on the Engineers. 3:22 on the clock in the first.
He at least feels like he touched it, I think. Because if he hadn't touched it, it was a pretty clear icing since the clearance came from well behind the red line. But Milos Babella kind of jawing a little bit with the linesman. Seth Thacker has something to say to Kevin Curtis as well.
We play up the boards all the way down. Babella gets on it nicely. He's onside. Throwing it in front, looking for Liljegren. He's tied up. We got a penalty upcoming on Michigan. As Liljegren was impeded on his way to the net by De Jong. And the Engineers get the first power play of this game.
Yeah, that's kind of a veteran move there by De Jong, the junior out of Victoria, BC, Minnesota draft pick. I'm sorry, it's going to be Warren taking the penalty.
Oh, you're right, okay.
Never mind. Can't really say it's a veteran move since he's a freshman, but it's still a good penalty to take. If Liljegren was all alone, had the net wide open, and if Warren hadn't impeded him from right behind, it would have probably been a goal for the Engineers. That's what you wanted to be doing if you're the Wolverines or if you're the Engineers, I suppose. If you're taking penalties, they need to be for good reasons. That was a good reason. So RPI going on their first power play of the evening so far this season. 20%, 3 for 15. We call that a small sample size.
It's an E. Stewart Jones power play for the Engineers.
So 2 seconds ran off the clock. I wonder if they're going to put that back on. Because they're redoing the face-off. The face-off never happened.
They blew the face-off dead.
Essentially, right. Well, someone getting tossed from the dot here? I don't know.
That's what they're trying to toss Tierney from the dot.
Yeah, well, he's staying.
Still in there.
And he wins the face-off back to Hampton, who can't keep it in the zone. That's the way this first period has gone so far for RPI, just a little bit off.
Yeah, way too much of that at the blue line.
As the Engineers have it now. It's Bradley down the middle as they restart from their own zone. They won the face-off pretty cleanly, but Hampton, puck kind of bounced on a little bit. Now they're offside.
Officially a hooking call at 16:52 to Brendan Warren, who also has the lone goal in this game for Michigan. 2:50 left in the first period, 1:42 remaining on the penalty to Warren.
Defensive zone. Michigan has it, and they fired all the way down wide of goal. That was Downing. Engineers will restart with 1.5 minutes to go on the power play. Played near side for Tierney. He's helped into the zone for Babella. Babella into the circle. Stick handles behind. He's tied up by Tyler Mott. Played around to the far point, but again, nobody there. And Bradley will have to go back to his own zone to get it. 1:13 on the clock in the penalty. 2:18 in the period. As it's Bradley near side for Babella of his own end. Ripped ahead for Tierney. He's tapped in deep. Nagelford out to leave it or play it. He'll try the far side. Tipped along by everybody. Cleared out again by Michigan. Although the Engineers catch a break there as Selman shoots it off the ice sheet here, and we'll have a face-off in the Michigan zone.
We've seen an awful lot of that so far here in the first period of the Engineers sending the puck back to the point. Whoever's back there, either they can't handle it or the pass itself was too far out to go to anyone that could handle it. And we've seen an awful lot of free giveaways of the puck that way. Kind of free clearance to the zone. You're basically just helping Michigan out at that point.
Face-off here to the left of Nagelfort. Still a minute to go on the RPI power play. Michigan trying to clear it out. Selman back into the corner to help. Trying to knock it down with a skate is Moore. He can't keep it in the zone. He has it pinned against the boards just over the blue line, and now back in come the Engineers on the far side. Nanny, stick handling in the far circle. To the corner he goes. Drops it back to the point for Orval. Back to Nanny. Quick pass back to Orval. At the far side hash marks. Tried to feed it back to the point. He's tied up, lost the puck. Scooped out to center by Michigan and chipped along. That was Selman who did the job there. Maybe one more rush for RPI on the power play with 1.5 minutes to go in the period. Moore leaves it there. Stick handling. Nanny lost the puck. It'll leave the ice, and we'll have another stoppage.
Well, the Engineers got set up on the power play momentarily, but really it was Jesper Orval losing it kind of in his own skates, and then it was picked up by the penalty killer for the Wolverines, was able to snake it out of the zone. That's a little bit of what Seth Apper was talking about before this game. Jesper Orval, he's showing kind of that skill that he's got, but he kind of still needs to put it all together at this level.
Back and clearing all the way down, high in the air, comes bouncing in on Kasdorf. He'll glove it, and with a little bit of pressure coming, he'll take a face-off here. 5 seconds to go on the penalty to Brendan Warren, which at this point looks like a pretty good penalty to take. RPI hasn't done much on the power play, and that really eliminated one of RPI's 2, maybe 3 scoring chances in the period.
I think Jason Kasdorf was probably a little bit worried about the way that puck was coming in on him, and that was lofted well up into the air. I actually thought I was going to hit the scoreboard at first. When that puck comes bouncing in on you in goal, it can be a really scary feeling because there's nobody around you, and it's all on you to figure out exactly how that puck's going to land, and you got to still keep it out of the net.
Yeah.
So one of those tricky, dangerous maneuvers that almost helped Michigan out a little bit there to give them maybe a second goal.
Puck into the Michigan zone, and they now move it out to center. They're back to even. Here comes Warren. A chance for a 2-on-1 down low. Reno may have gotten a piece of that one. He'll scoop it out to center. If he was a little more patient, he had a couple Engineers with him, but he ices it. And again, it just seems like mental errors for RPI right now.
It's little things. It's, icing the puck in that situation was probably more difficult than completing a shorter pass.
Right.
And it's partially RPI's MO to try and go for those headman passes and get the puck forward in a hurry in that fashion, but it's just not happening for them tonight, and they're not even really connecting on short passes. So they got to kind of work with fundamentals first and then try to move up to those bigger, longer passes.
Yeah, neither team playing a real clean first period. But with 43 seconds left in it, there's always time and room to change at least the scoreboard aspect of it. As the Engineers get it in deep, Schrader trying to battle for it behind the cage. His whole team changing behind him. Does enough to just tie things up behind the goal, allows the RPI forecheck to get set up. Michigan behind their own net now, it's Martin. Near side, drop pass by Kyle. Thrown up the wall. Taken over. Kyle can't keep it in the zone. There's a Michigan player way offside. It was Comfer. He'll touch up. Bradley back to get it behind the net. Stopped there by Kasdorf. Flung up the near side boards. Not a lot on it. Loose at center. 8 seconds to go in the period. Carried in by Liljegren. He'll chip into the corner with 4. Liljegren, big collision back there. Puck pops free with 1, and that will do it as Liljegren Babella takes a bit of a slash and then a push from Comfer. They'll need to be separated as the first period comes to an end. 1-0 Michigan, Tom, after 1 period. And kind of sloppy both ways. Michigan looks kind of like a team that played last night, played in overtime in a 5-5 game. RPI, they don't really have that excuse, but nothing great so far from either team.
Well, really the only major difference in this game so far is that Michigan came out with jump, the Engineers didn't, led to a goal, and that's basically what we've got. Both teams, as you said, Perry, a little bit sloppy early in this one. This could still go either way. RPI's seen some flashes of brilliance during the middle of the period. They looked like they were containing things a little bit better. They were holding possession a little bit better. And, this is a game that if they can play that way, they've got a shot to be in it. We saw a couple weeks ago against Boston College that, this team gets a good defensive effort, they can beat anybody in the country. Because if you can beat the number 1 team in the country, you can beat almost anybody. So right now from RPI, that's all we need to see is just kind of cleaning it up a little bit, getting those passes together. Maybe a little bit more on the forecheck and really kind of getting in there and making Michigan work for those pucks. That's really the key for RPI in the 40 minutes to come. In this one, but certainly well within reach. Michigan's not blowing RPI out of their own building, which is a good sign if you're an RPI fan.
Number 9, Mears
and at the end of the day, the score's only 1-0, so there's still a lot of hockey to be played, and this one's still anyone's contest. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to get right into an interview that Perry did with RPI's, relatively new athletic director, Dr. Lee McElroy. An interesting discussion between Perry and Dr. McElroy.
Present are Stacy and Lonnie Clary. Number 39, Alex Rodriguez and mother Isabel Rodriguez. Brady Whiffen and his parents Rob and Kelly Whiffen. From the sophomore class, please welcome number 8, Kenny Gillespie and his mother Joyce Gillespie. Number 12, Victor Lilgren and his mother, Annika Lilgren. Number 19, Mike Prapavesis, parents Karen and Jim Prapavesis. Number 22 is Bradley Bell, parents Joanna and Jeff Bell. Number 23, Lou Nanny, parents Patty and Marty Nanny. And number 25, Drew Melanson, parents Marianne and Paul Melanson. Now the junior class. Number 2 is Parker Reno, parents Margine and Glenn Reno. Number 14, Riley Bourbonnais, parents Lori and John Bourbonnais. Number 20 is Jimmy DeVito, parents Tony and Jim DeVito. Number 27, Jake Wood, parents Judy and Kevin Wood. From the senior class, please welcome number 6, Phil Hampton, his mother Sherry Niles. Number 7, Zach Schrader, parents Deb and John Schrader. Number 17, Milos Bubella and his mother Eva Bubella. Number 18, Travis Fulton and his mother Tanya Fulton. Number 24, Chris Bradley, parents Linda and Peter Bradley. Number 26, Mark Miller, parents Jackie and Dan Miller. Number 33, Jason Katzdorf, parents Helen and Ewald Katzdorf. And number 35, Sam Goodman, parents Janet and Mike Goodman, class of 1985. Ladies and gentlemen, your RPI engineers and their family. Now we'd like to direct your attention to the west end of the field house, near the Engineers' Pride area, for the SEFQ Money Machine Money Grab. Tonight our contestant is Maureen Niles. Maureen will have 30 seconds to grab as much money as she can while it's flying around inside the SEFQ Money Machine. The best part, she gets to keep whatever she can hold on to, and SEFQ will match that amount and donate it to the YWCA. Are we ready, Maureen? Start the machine, start the clock. 30 seconds from now. That's 15 seconds, halfway there. Got 5 seconds, Maureen. Grab what you can. 3, 2, 1. Time. The Rock, Boucher and Clark Financial Group, Jenny Montgomery Scott, Price Rock, Axel Fence, Yankee Trails, Red Front Pizza, Dry City Reynolds, Dunkin' Donuts, Toyota, Ben and Jerry's, Warren W. Fame, and Tri City Valley Pass, all proud sponsors of RPI Hockey.
Thanks, Seth. As a former captain of the RPI hockey team and a proud member of the RPI athletic family, I'm proud to call the Capital Region my home. For the past 30 years, I've raised my family here and built my business around providing sound financial advice to my clients. My firm is fiercely independent and highly dedicated to earning the trust and confidence of our clients every day. I welcome the opportunity to show you how we can protect and enhance your wealth today. Please call me for a free consultation. And let's go Red!
In a Liberty League football game this afternoon in Geneva, New York. Final score, RPI 21, Hobart 20.
Really an uneventful period of hockey, save the goal Michigan scored through a screen. The Engineers giving the puck away, I think, below the goal line is what happened there.
It really was.
Weren't able to recover.
And a lot of it was just early effort. That's what created that goal. So an even game for the most part in the first 20 minutes, save maybe the first, say, 4 or 5 minutes where Michigan has just had a little more giddy up to their stride. But RPI hanging in there against the Wolverines, as I mentioned at the end of the first period. Still a 1-0 game. A lot of hockey left to be played. We'll see how RPI comes out for the second period. They've had a couple of good second periods.
That's true.
Here this season, especially up in Alaska, where they really shine in the second period against the Anchorage Seawolves. So let's see if they can have a similar second period, and maybe good things will happen. Just a reminder, you're listening to live coverage of Engineers Hockey on 91.5 FM WRPI Troy. As I said, my name's Tom Reel, and I'm joined by Perry Lascaris as we get set to start the second period of action here at the Houston Fieldhouse.
Tom, don't want to dwell on the first period. It wasn't good for the teams. We'll put it behind us and see if the Engineers can do better here in the second. 20 minutes on the clock. RPI is getting from the left to right across your radio dials as we bring you the second. Face-off win for the Wolverines. Mike O'Dowling back to his own end. He'll try a cross-ice pass for Orensky to the RPI line. Broken up there, picked up Prapovestis near side. Up the boards for Wood. Hops up in the air. Cam Hackett dodging out of the way at the RPI bench at the door. He's the doorman that's been so far for this RPI squad. Hasn't seen any ice time yet, but that's a good thing if the Engineers means Jason Kasdorf is out there and healthy. There's a shot and a goal. What a shot. Snuck in the far post. It's 2-0 Michigan. A diving play by Tyler Mott. for his 3rd of the year, and that play came almost out of nothing. Just a straight-up hustle play by the junior.
Well, I wouldn't say that came out of almost nothing. I'm going to say that came out of absolutely nothing. Mott was laid out practically on his stomach, just basically took a baseball swing at it from down on the ice and managed to snake it through. Kind of backhanded it. That's not a good goal to give up if you're Jason Kasdorf. Went right across the crease. Probably should have had that corner covered a little bit better, that far corner. Just snuck past him and into the net. That's a rough one. That's not one you normally see Jason Kasdorf giving up, especially given the shooter was down on his stomach. But here it is, 2-0 Michigan. That's the kind of goal that can really break the back of a team if they don't manage to respond to it well, especially since it now puts the Engineers into a deeper hole here. But there's still an awful lot of hockey to be played, and how they respond to this goal is going to go a long way to determining if the Engineers are still going to be competitive in this one.
The second straight period that they've given up an early goal, the Engineers have. They gave up a goal at 2:40 into the first, and this less than a minute into the second. They move into the zone. It's Connor, a wrist shot blocked by Wilson into the corner. So 2-0 Michigan here on Mott's 3rd of the year, his 21st collegiate goal. Working up the far side to the Engineers, stopping far side hash marks. It's Melanson trying to feed it in front. Comes free to Tyrannies. He's hauled down. Taken over. Centering pass looking for Nanny. Didn't get through. Poked in the air out to center. Taken over by Evan Tyrannies there. He'll chip it in. Stop behind by Nagelvort. To the far point. Kept in by Moore. All the way around to the near point. Hampton slipped up a bit, kept in the zone for the time being. Now it's out to center. He kicks at it. 3 Engineers offside. They need to touch up. They do. That allows the Wolverines to take over. DeYoung scooping it ahead. It'll trickle into the far corner. Race for the puck. The first one to it is Evan Allen for Michigan. He's tied up by Moore. Taken away by Danks. Back to the point. Near point Martin. Wrist shot through traffic, hit his shin pad, caroms out, can't keep it in the zone. Martin back out to center. He'll go cross ice with it to Ciccone. Tied up in the far circle. Hampton takes it away. He'll fire it off the glass over to Bourbonnais. Touch pass to center ice. Move ahead, Orval. Schrader has to hold up the line and does. Cross ice feed behind the intended target. Orval did not make the right play there. Prapavesis now in the neutral zone. Across for Bradley. Down the middle, tipped in deep by Schrader. They'll carry him off the back wall. Picked up by Martin. Martin behind, near side for Ciccone. Out to center, good connection. Into the RPI zone, far side circle, changing lanes as a wraparound try is stopped there by Kasdorf. Marodi, far side, one-timer blocked by Liljegren. Trying to sweep it away was Bradley, couldn't get enough on it. And now Bradley will get a second crack. He finds Liljegren ahead. On the attack now, Prapavesis leading the charge. They're offside. And we get a whistle. Engineers may have caught a break there. I don't know if Prapavesis touched the puck, and Warren was back out the other way if they had not blown it dead. 16:57 on the clock, second period, 2-0 Michigan, and the Wolverines lead 8-4 in shots.
Michigan's second goal of the game comes at 28 seconds of the second period. Tyler Mott, his 3rd of the season, lone assist going to junior Alex Kyle, his 1st assist of the season. Kyle, a native of Troy, Michigan. See what I did there?
I see what you did. Chipped in deep by the Wolverines. A shot coming from a tight angle is blocked. It came right back out to Wilson, although he can't find it. Turning with it is Marodi, trying to get away from Jared Wilson. Wilson ties him up. Labella slaps it behind. It's picked up by Reno. Parker Reno, junior from Medina, Minnesota, up the near side boards. And into the Michigan zone. Race for the puck. Wave off the icing. Liljegren the first one to it. Eldy's warded off the puck by Wawrinski. Taken away. A shot by Babella. Comes free. Babella lost it in his skates. Another shot by Babella. Saved by Nagelvort, and he covers up. Shot may have handcuffed Babella just a little bit there. He wasn't able to get all of it, but he put it on goal, and Nagelvort had to make the save.
That handcuff was just enough to give Nagelvort the time he needed to move laterally across that goal mouth. That's something you want to see in any decent goaltender, is that ability to move laterally. He got over there quick enough to smother that up. That's another example of how RPI is going to be creating chances this year. They need to find open ice down low, and that's what Victor Liljegren had. That kind of created that opportunity. He was able to shake free of his man and move the puck with some open ice.
Puck in deep behind the RPI cage. Played around to the near side. Nanny jumps on it. Played it ahead. Left over there and pushed into the zone by Moore. Trying to step through a check. He was knocked off the play, however, by Lohan. Near side corner of the Michigan zone, taken away by DeYoung. And moved up the far boards. Camphor gets dumped there by Miller. Bradley behind his own net to play. Rattles it up the far boards, chopped ahead by Melanson. And that hit one of the Wolverines, and that's a break for Michigan there as the Engineers were flying into the zone. It was Miller and Nanny on the move, and wow, that's a tough break for RPI. It was just starting to get things going.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing going on there too, because it hit a Wolverine player whose leg was draped over the side of the bench, and you're absolutely right, Perry. That broke up what would have been a 2-on-1, so a really, really rough break there for the Engineers. So they really need to kind of take it where they can get it at this point. They're down 2-0 here with 15:43 left in the second period. Need some kind of spark to get themselves back into this game. Get more importantly, maybe even get the crowd back into this game. They've got a sellout crowd here, but they haven't had an awful lot of cause to make noise, with the exception of some big hits.
And this is a Michigan team, albeit it's only been 3 games, but they've been giving up goals. They gave up 4, 2, and 5 in their 3 games this year. So this is not a team that's been lighting it up defensively.
When you're struggling offensively and you're playing a team that's struggling on defense, that's the time when you want to try and cycle it forward, get yourself some goals and get some confidence, because the biggest confidence builder you can have is to score goals, whether it's against a good defense or not. You can carry that forward into other games, and that's what this team needs. They need more offensive positivity.
Dumped behind the goal was Reno. Puck came free to the middle of the ice. It was played behind. Selman couldn't get the shot away from in front. Now a diving play defensively to break things up, not by the book by Reno, but he broke up the play. Kept in far point, however, by Saccone. Taken over in the center of the ice, it's Gillespie. Played up the far wall. Helped into the zone by Gillespie. He is onside, but it's taken away. Schrader nearly had it again. Now he does. Gillespie over to Fulton. Fulton pulls it back, feeding it all the way across, and it hit the skate of Schrader. Wasn't quite in the shooting position. Fulton again. Pulls it back. Drops it back. Reno. A slapper is blocked. Rebound loose. Fulton tries to jam it up. And the Engineers are on the board.
Schrader puts home a good shot by Travis Fulton down low. Talked earlier about Mark Reno's not always the kind of guy you want in a good position to take shots with lots of ice, because he's not that offensive-minded guy. He was right there again taking the puck. And that's exactly what I was talking about. When the guy is there, no matter who he is, no matter how good he is, you want him there. He took the initial shot. That got blocked in front, but Fulton was right there to scoop it up. So it didn't really matter at that point whether Parker Reno was anywhere near the net. His shot made that happen. He took the shot, created some confusion in front. That was just enough for Fulton to get it. Ends up with Naylor making the initial stop, and then right there bounces directly to Schrader, cuts Michigan's lead in half. It's 2-1.
Puck in Michigan territory, flip back out to center ice and all the way down. Doesn't have the legs for the icing, no. It'll be tracked down there by Chris Bradley. Shot out to center by Bourbonnais. Race for the puck. Orval's trying to get on it. Chipped out to center by the last Wolverine back. And that was Warren. And now moved up into Michigan territory again. Tierney's around to the far corner. Back to the point. Settling a bouncing puck there was Pravovessis. Now Orval behind the goal. Spins away from a check. He's tied up now by Downing. Engineers within 2-1. 14-10 to go in the second period. Now Wolverine gets upended behind the goal. We play on. Bourbonnais leaves it for Reno. Down low, the Engineers cycle. Tierney spinning around in the corner. Throws in front off a skate. Comes all the way out to the point. Will be kept in there by Reno. Down low, some tired legs out there. Cross ice feed. Good keep by Wilson. Shot is blocked. Rebound and the shot pops in the air. It'll come down on the ice. Gloved at. Picked up Bourbonnais. Penalty coming out. No. They wave it off. I'm sorry. It was a hand pass being waved off. Now there is a penalty coming up on Michigan. Picked up Tierney's. Cross ice feed. Wilson walking in. Fakes a fake. A pass off to Melanson. And it's played back to the point. 6 skaters on for RPI. Extra attacker on as Kasdorf is out in the delayed penalty. Shot from off the top of the net. Karam's out of play. And we're going to get a penalty here on Michigan. 13:23 on the clock. The Engineers have scored, and now they'll go back on the power play.
And this is a penalty that was really created just by RPI's fire in their belly after that goal. They really jumped on it on that ensuing face-off. Sometimes you earn a power play, and that's exactly what RPI did here. It's going to be Michael Downing, the junior out of Canton, Michigan, going off, giving RPI their second power play of the evening. They are 0 for 1 so far tonight. That makes them 3 for 16 on the season. The penalty to Downing boarding call.
Slap shot from the point by Moore goes way wide. Prapovestis pinching there on the power play. Does keep the puck in the zone for a second. Now it's cleared out by Mott. Back behind his own goal to pick it up is Mears Moore, the freshman. Played the first 2 games of the season as a forward. He's from Duluth, Minnesota. Has the goal on the season. It came against Fairbanks, or Anchorage, I should say. Rattled around to the near side corner. Back to the point now. Touch pass back from Prapovestis to Wood. Wood down low, finding Liljegren. They trade places. Cross ice feed for Moore. Moore holding at the far hash marks. Back to the center blue line for Prapovestis. Near side Wood caught it in the skates. Plays it back across. Drop pass Moore. Slap shot coming. It's blocked. Rebound sitting there. Still can't find it. Kicked out, and the Engineers keep it in the zone. Liljegren. Far side for Prapovestis now. Moore wants it. Fakes the shot. Moore still. Near side Wood. He'll pull it back. Wood walking in center slot. Shot coming. Tight angle save on the try by Nanny. Nanny back to the point for Moore. 58 seconds to go on the power play. Nanny spinning around. Plays it down low. Up top. Right through Moore and all the way down the ice. You could feel the tension building. And Mears Moore took his eye off the puck just for a second. It went under his stick and all the way down. Now Moore will start things out for RPI. Another 40 seconds to go in the power play. 2-1 the Engineers trail. We're 12 minutes to go in the second period. Bobella at the far hash marks plays it back to the point for Hampton. Hampton back to Bobella. Bobella holding near point Bradley. Bradley a rip. That one hit a shin pad diving play. Can't clear the zone. Yes, they do. On a second effort, they get it out. That was Selman. Now in the near corner of the RPI zone, played around far side. Here is Chris Bradley. He has to avoid Milos Bobella, who took a little bit of a tumble in his own zone. Near side, Hampton. Hampton crosses the red line. He'll ring it in. Around to the far side it goes. Trying to play it over there was Lohan. Comes all the way free to the near point. Bradley trying to keep it in. Penalty about to expire. We're back to 5-a-side. Engineers still in the attack. Tierney's far side for Hampton. Penalty expired. RPI 0 for 2 in the power play. Now Michigan can break 3-on-1. Here they come into the zone. Far side it's Morodi. Pulls it back. Takes a shot and he missed it high. I'm not sure if that got a piece of the defender in front or not. But the chances by the wayside. Now a shot down low, redirected by Bradley in front of the RPI goal. Could have gone anywhere. It missed the net now. Poked out by Bourbonnais, can't clear the zone. Michigan has it far point. Tied up there, they keep it in along the wall. To the top of the circle, wrist shot saved by Kasdorf. Flip to the near corner. Hampton has his man tied up. And it's picked up behind the cage. Connor, one-timer from the far point. That came off of Saccone and off the defender in front of him. Now Michigan with some offensive zone pressure. Poked free by Bradley. Bobella has it tied up behind the cage. Spins around behind the net. He'll try the far side. Nobody home. Pinching in is Saccone. Saccone around a stick check. Runs into Bobella and his own man. Puck between them. Off the back of the net picked up Tierney's. He'll play it off the glass. Kept in at the line. Borensky walking in, wrist shot saved by Kasdorf, no rebound, and we get a stoppage.
Well, now we're getting into some good hockey here, and RPI really missing a golden opportunity there. It's hard to really fault Mears Moore too much for what he did out there. He was the one at the point who wasn't able to handle the pass and had to go all the way down, but it was kind of that like as you mentioned, Perry, you could kind of feel the tension building as RPI kept the puck down in the zone. They kept it in there for a solid minute, and Michigan was really kind of out of sorts on the penalty kill. RPI with some very good opportunities on that power play. But and you have to credit Mears Moore with a lot of that. He is RPI's quarterback of the future when it comes to power plays, and he showed right there, not at the end, of course, where he missed the pass and ended up breaking up that opportunity that RPI had down in the Michigan end. But he really was the gel that kept that together and kept that puck down in the zone for that full minute. And the longer you can keep that bottled up down there, I know the crowd was getting antsy, wanted more shots, but you get the penalty killers out of sorts the way that Michigan was. You can create good things, and that was a really good power play opportunity for RPI. It's a shame for them that they didn't score on it, but it bodes well for the future.
RPI moving into the zone. Schrader stole the puck at the Michigan blue line. He'll have to track it down as he's tied up and lost it behind the cage. Battle for it there, far side corner. Taking a look up ice and trying to move it out was Mott. He ran into trouble. Engineers taking away Schrader. Top of the circle. Pulls it back. One-timer Wilson. That one's off the post. Picked up by Reno in the near corner now. He's pinched up the boards. Reno holding. He'll work it to the half wall for Melanson. Cross ice feed. Wilson a drive. That one missed high and wide, and it caroms all the way out of the zone. Parker Reno back to picking up a rolling puck in the corner. 9.5 left in this second period. An eventful one so far. A goal each way. as Kasdorf picks up that one that was steered on goal from center ice, but no trouble for him. Left there for Wilson. Wilson up the near wall, finding Wood. Wood into the zone, chips it in deep. Victor Liljegren back to try and pick it up. Battles there with Werenski. Tied up was Liljegren, back to the point. Prapavesis fake a shot. Far side Bradley to the circle, a shot right on. Rebound poke free, right back to Bradley, and his shot's deflected wide by Liljegren. Near side corner, played behind by Danks as he takes a hit. And now Werenski, far side, nice move to get free from the forechecker. He'll play it on. At the line, takes the deflection, shot right on, saved by Kasdorf. He has to cover in a hurry. The shot initially came from Evan Allen, but it sat there. And there was another man coming. It was Stewart looking for that rebound.
Going back to RPI's first goal, which was a good time ago now. Finally get a couple of stoppages here, that power play in between. 5:03 of the second period, RPI cut Michigan's lead to a 2-1 margin, which is where we stand now. Zach Schrader, his first goal of the season with the assists to Travis Fulton and Parker Reno. Again, an even strength goal at 5:03 of the second period.
Face-off coming. To the left of Kasdorf.
And he's getting kicked out of the circle.
Tierney's got tossed again, you're right. And the shot came off the Michigan offensive zone win. Out to center it goes, and now Wilson with some room to move in. Has a man in front. It was Bourbonnais, tried to pass it to him. And it's turned right back around by Michigan. They're trying to break in a hurry here. Wilson has to get back to try to defend this. Turned into a 3-on-2, but it was a poor play by Connor. And now the net comes off. And now Selman and Wilson get into it, and Selman gives Wilson a stick up high. Wilson tried to sell it a bit, and they're going to be separated here.
Yeah, Evan Tierney has been really strong in the circle for RPI, but one thing that he's got to learn is how to get in there and not get himself kicked out. I mean, that's as crucial as anything. He seems to be potentially going after Brandon Peary's unofficial RPI record for getting thrown out of the circle. if you're a strong face-off taker, you got to be able to stand in there. You're no good if you get thrown out. So you're going to see now Tierney's heading back into the face-off guy. He's just got to be able to stand in there long enough to take the actual face-off.
Face-off here to the right of Jason Kasdorf. It's a 2-1 Michigan lead. And now Tierney's getting tossed again.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, he's a strong face-off taker, but unless he can figure out a way to stay in there, figure out why he's getting thrown out, it's going to do RPI no good.
Orval had to take the draw. Engineers do work it out to center. Kind of a mosh pit to center ice. Tierney's tried to glove it to himself. He actually gloved it to Reno, but we play on. Reno into the zone far side. Drops it back for Orval. Orval spins around in the corner. Played it back to the point for Wilson. Passes in his skates. He'll play it near side for Reno. Too far for him. He throws a stick out there to try and break it up. Now it's off his glove. And a wave off the hand pass as it's touched by a Wolverine. Picked up by Tierney. So stick handles through center. Feeding it ahead for Fulton. Lost it in his skates. He'll backtrack out to center ice. That hits off of a body. Race for the puck. And Moore had to turn on the Jets there as Warren was trying to chase it down in the RPI zone. Deflected far side. Schrader didn't get back on side. He thought he got his toe back to the line. Linesman on the far side said he did not.
Yeah, I thought he might have gotten back too.
Yeah, no.
Whatever. I mean, going back to Tierney's, I mean, and the comparison to Brandon Peary, when he came to RPI, he was a revelation. This was a team that had struggled in the face-off circle for years. And Brandon Peary comes in here and probably wins, I'd say at least 75% of his draws while he was the short time that he was here at RPI. But he was also regularly getting thrown out of the circle. I mean, whether it was for being late to the draw, being a little too aggressive. You do have to be aggressive when you win face-offs. That's worth pointing out. So if you're too aggressive, you are going to get thrown. And Peary was just a freshman that 1 year. Tierney's the freshman here. He's got to kind of adjust himself to the way that ECAC referees are going to call it when you're in the circle. Maybe at the lower levels he can get away with a little bit more. He's got to kind of adjust his game because that's a key part of his play here in Troy is going to be winning faceoffs for RPI.
This puck is tapped in deep to the RPI zone. Prapaves is there, spins away from Comfort. Although he can't get it by the next man in. Prapaves swats it towards the far point, just gave it away. Walking in, a shot over the top. That was Boca. Engineers cannot continue to do that. It's giving the puck away in their own zone. Just throw it to the point. Can't throw it blindly there. Teams will make you pay for that. Now turning and firing it in front was Fulton. Bradley fires it wide from the blue line, and now it's picked up by Mott. He'll throw it off the far boards for Comfort. Too far for him. And now turn right back around quickly by the Engineers. Good outlet. That was Prapavessis to Fulton. Schrader turning, backhands towards goal. Came right back to him. Fanned on the shot. And turning around is Kyle. He'll move it ahead for Schuert. Schuert into the RPI zone. Far side circle. Trying to drive the net. Throws it off at Kasdorf. Karam's behind the net again. Kicked at loose next to the crease. And played to the far side corner. Mott with it. Firing it through traffic. Looking for the deflection. Never got it from Schuert. And now it's Reno behind his own cage. Ahead, far side, and out of the zone. Race for the puck. Nanny's going to get there, trying to bird his man with the speed. Downing, driving play. Good poke check by Downing to break that one up. Nanny was trying to speed right on by him, and he had a step. But it was a sliding, sweeping stick check made by the junior Michael Downing out of Canton, Michigan. Break up the play. To the RPI line it goes. Hampton, borderline interference there, but we play on. Poked at by Miller, controlled by Melanson. He'll carry in. Melanson far side, has Nanny breaking to the net. He'll skate behind with it. All the way around to the near corner. Still Melanson. Cross ice feed to the point. Moore, a shot through traffic, hit a skate. Turning his Nanny, throws it off the side of the net. Still loose on the far side and played along. Michigan can break now 3-on-2. Could be a 4-on-2. Here they come into the zone and they're offside. A little bit too anxious was Dexter Danks, the sophomore. And that'll draw the whistle.
Really have to give praise to Michael Downing's defense here in this game. He's done a tremendous job back-checking, stopping a couple of really good opportunities. We saw Melanson with kind of a semi-breakaway in the first period that Downing was able to effectively back-check into submission. And then right there with Nanny kind of in front of him, able to play some very good defense. And the key part there also is doing it without taking a penalty. He didn't have to take a penalty there, and he didn't.
Puck in the far corner, Bradley. Some stick work from Connors into his gut, but Bradley works it loose. Ahead for Wood, up the wall, stopping at the blue line there, but staying in the zone. Engineers working on further is Babella. Babella all the way around the net, using that long reach. Still Babella, being watched by Salmon, plays it back to the point. Near point, Prapavessis, holding, waiting. Back up top for Bradley. Pressure comes, he fires it towards goal. That one kicks off of something and bounced right back out to Nagelbart. I'm not sure what that hit. But it bounced awkwardly in front of the Michigan goaltender, and he had to cover it up.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time that the boards at Houston Fieldhouse played strangely. It's supposed to be one of the benefits to. It
hit Selman.
Hit Selman directly to the side of the net. Boy, that's.
So it looked like it got by him, but I'm thinking it didn't hit the post. What did it hit?
Sometimes it hits one of those little stanchions.
Yeah.
Or one of those divots in the boards. I mean, every rink's got them. I had thought that kind of just bounced weird, but it bounced right off Selman. Right, boy, that was dangerous for Michigan. It bounced right off one of their players right in front of the net. Nagelbart had to be sharp on that one.
It didn't make any sense. There was no sound. We figured it out. Puck behind the Michigan goal, near side corner.
Silent but deadly.
But it's played back behind the goal for Saccone. Into the skates of DeYoung. And out to center. Engineers take over. Tierney's his pass, takes a deflection. And the Wolverines have it again. Mears Moore, far side of his own zone, shoots it off the glass. And it will be kept in the zone. Now a break in front, and they score. A shot off of a deflection. Tony Calderon. Engineers could not quite clear the zone. It fell to the point. Calderon was wide open in the slot. He went up top to beat Kasdorf.
Well, it's hard to fault RPI for that one. I mean, when the puck looks like it's in transition, you got to be moving with it. That was just a bad carom of that puck, and it just flipped to just the right person in the right place for Michigan. And boy, Calderon turned on that one quickly and just lit up Kasdorf before he had an opportunity to even really see what was going on. It's one of those pucks that just flips play really quickly, and Michigan took really good advantage of it. You cannot really fault anybody on the ice for that one. It's just the way the puck bounces, and if you can control or take advantage of the puck when it bounces in your way, you score goals. And that's what Michigan has done right here. And the Engineers now kind of really up against it, because at the same time, we have Milos Bubella going off on a slashing call. I'm sorry, that's Jared Wilson going off on a slashing call. So the Engineers now to the penalty kill as well as giving up a goal.
Into the zone, Comfort makes a move around one man off the boards, plays it back to the point. Marodi walking in, a wrist shot, looking for the deflection from Kyle, got it, but it went way wide. Played back towards the point, nice keep over there by Downing. Downing holding, far side, Marody, he's tied up by Babella. Now some fancy footwork on the blue line, keeps it in play. Mott gets hit, puck played back to the point, knocked out of the air by Marody. Center blue line for Downing. Near side, Comfer. Comfer pressured by Schrader. Into the middle for Kyle. Looking for a shot through a screen. He got it off. Mott was the only one in front of Kasdorf. And he didn't see the shot, but it went wide anyway. Played back to the point. Downing has it over there, far side. Top of the circle, turning. Kyle pulls it back. Fanned on the pass. Bouncing puck goes behind the goal. Mott picks it up there. Nifty between the legs pass, although the recipient wasn't ready. And that allows Prapavesis to clear. 45 seconds on the Wilson penalties. The first power play of the game for Michigan. Engineers on the kill this year, not too bad, 17 for 21, that's 81%. And that puck will leave the ice, so we'll have a stoppage. 3:22 on the clock in the second. 3-1 Michigan leads.
81%, not bad, could be better.
Right.
And will get better if the Engineers can kill this penalty, which is really in an important spot for them. And you know, that Michigan goal kind of coming against the flow of play and really coming out of nowhere. It's going to mean the Engineers are going to have to work twice as hard, and it's going to be even more difficult if they can't kill this penalty off.
That one, again, shot out of play, but it came from the RPI end of the ice. Hampton shoots it out, and so the faceoff will be in the RPI zone with 30 seconds to go on the Wilson penalty. Draw to the left of Jason Kasdorf. It's Miller against Selman. One back by the Engineers. Reno trying to slap it out of there. And can't do so. Kept in. Allen in front. Intercepted. That was Reno, got a stick on it. Right back to the point. Werenski, far side, right back to the near side. Allen fanned on the one-timer. And it's played back to the near side, and the Engineers are going to be able to clear it out here. Carried out by Wood. He'll fire it off of a body. And it's taken over by Werenski. Werenski down the middle of the ice. 3 seconds to go in the Wilson penalty. Carries into the zone. Werenski on the attack now. All the way to the corner. Trying to get away from Prapavesis. Fed in front. All alone. Shot was blocked. Now Prapavesis will lead the rest the other way. Prapavesis not the fleetest of foot, but he'll carry into the zone with a couple teammates trailing. Prapavesis' job is done. He skates back towards the point. Wolverines take over. And now Connor. Up ahead. Lost it on the handle. Runs into Nanny. But Connor gets back on the puck. He's all by himself in the zone. He takes a hit from Tyrannese. Poked at, but not cleared. A shot coming, saved by Kasdorf on the try by Warren. He was able to see that one. And we'll have a stoppage here. 2:15 left in the second period. You can see shots are 17-9 Michigan. The 9 shots is really an issue for RPI as we are nearing the end of the second.
Michigan's third goal, scored at 15-11 of the second period, an even strength goal, as were all of the other goals so far in this one. Tony Calderon, his second goal of the season, the lone assist coming from Joseph Saccone.
Puck behind the RPI goal, trying to move it out in front. Jam try, popped in the air. It came off a Stewart. Around to the far side, Warren. To the point, intercepted. Liljegren, he'll skate out to center with it. Under 2 to go in the second. Victor Liljegren down low, feeding it off the base of the cage. Wood, far side, trying to go up top. Saved by Nagelvort. And they find some open space, and Warren, he'll move it to the neutral zone. Warren into the RPI zone now, top of the circle. Trying to draw it back and take a shot. Didn't get it off, he was hit. Now Wood fed on further for Mears Moore. Moore near side, drop it back for Wood. Wood slowly out of his own zone near side for Moore. Moore trying to cross center, finds Liljegren. Engineers need a shift change, they get it. Wood will be the one to chase. Runs into his man behind the goal, that was Boca. That one deflected at center, picked up Hampton. Fakes a drive into the zone, he'll just play it softly near side. DeYoung has it, he goes D to D. Down the middle of the ice, tapped ahead by Comfort. Bradley fanned on that clearing effort. Picked up by Kyle, spinning around over there. Alex Kyle trying to chase it down. A couple Engineers run into each other. Schrader peels it away and throws it up the far boards. Kyle lost it. Fulton, he can't pick it up, and now it's controlled by Fulton. Near side for Gillespie. Gillespie into the offensive zone. Less than a minute to go in the period. Gillespie driving, trying to feed it in front. Didn't get the pass away. Far side, Prapavesis. Turning and moving it down low. First one to it, Martin. He's tied up. Taken away. Comfort. With the puck, he'll scoop it high in the air out to center, where it's controlled by Reno. Reno up the wall with 28 to go. Melanson chipping it deep. First one to it, Schrader. And now controlled by Connor. Kyle Connor to center ice, trying to move it ahead quickly for Calderon. Calderon stops at the hash marks, looking for support. Doesn't get it, flips it deep. It'll come high off the glass with 9 to go. Behind the goal, Miller. Maybe one last rush. Engineers will play it off the boards out to center. That should do it. Wave off the icing as it's picked up there by Downing. Downing stops at his own goal line, and that will do it for period number 2. Michigan outscores the Engineers 2-1 in the frame for a 3-1 lead overall. RPI showed signs of life in middle portions of that period. Looked like they had the momentum in their favor. They pulled it in 2-1, Tom, but then they gave up the goal on the kind of a bad bounce, and then kind of swung back the other way.
Yeah, it looked for a good time after the Schrader goal that the Engineers were probably going to be the more likely recipients of the next one, which was going to be crucial considering that they were down 2-1 at that point, but they just couldn't get it done on a really, just can't say enough about how excellent the power play was shortly thereafter with Downing, one of the best defensive players on this Michigan team, off on a boarding call. And they just couldn't get one through, but even after that power play opportunity, they were looking good. And just really a bad bounce. It bounced right off of freshman Joseph Ciccone. Picked up his first collegiate point in the effort, the native of Youngstown, New York, which is just north of Niagara Falls. Kind of an ignominious way of picking up your first collegiate point, but I'm sure that he'll take it, because if he hadn't been where he was, it would not have been able to bounce to Tony Calderon, who was still in the RPI zone. Really just had Jason Kasdorf to beat at that point. He picked his spot, and he picked it well to make it 3-1 in favor of Michigan. Kind of a slow start for the Engineers as well, as Tyler Mott scored 28 seconds into the second period on a goal that I'm positive that Jason Kasdorf would like to have back. It was not well taken care of. You know, it was a low percentage shot to start with, considering that Mott was laid out while he was taking a back swing at it. But it ended up squirting past the RPI senior nonetheless. Puts RPI into a little bit of a hole heading into the third period. They're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. They can get back to where they were before the goal by Calderon, put some pressure on, get the next goal, make it a one-goal game again. That's something that they're going to need to accomplish early in this coming third period if they're going to hope to get back into this one. Shots on goal in the second period, 11-7 in favor of the Wolverines. That makes it 17-11 for the game in favor of the visitors. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with some kind of second intermission momentarily here at Houston Fieldhouse. Your score after 2 periods of play is Michigan 3 and RPI 1. You're listening to live coverage of Engineers Hockey on 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.
Chuck a puck contest. If you're ready, let's start at 3, 2, 1, chuck your pucks. Okay, last 5 seconds. If you got them, let's see them. 3, 2, 1. Let's pick a winner. Number 190, 190. The winning puck at tonight's Ryan's Wake Chuck a Puck contest. You've got a gift certificate to Ryan's Wake in downtown Troy. The Hudson Mohawk Figure Skating Club is in its 64th year of offering Learn to Skate classes right here at Houston Fieldhouse. They take place on Saturday mornings. Classes are for all ages. For more information, check out the program at hmfgsk.com. RPI Hockey would like to thank the Stadium Cafe, Rensselaer Summer Programs, Nigro Companies, Pattison, Sampson, Ginsberg, and Griffin Law Firm, Rensselaer Alumni Association, Sodexo, Subway, the Hilton Garden Inn, Macaluso Wealth Management Group, the Recovery Sports Grill, E. Stewart Jones, Hacker and Murphy, Stanley Steamer, CDTA, Stewart Shops, Rensselaer Honda, Domino's Pizza, Freihofer's, Turner Construction, and Saratoga Eagles Sales and Service, all proud sponsors of RPI Hockey. In other college hockey action tonight in Canton, early in the third, it's St. Lawrence 3, Miami 1. In Rochester, after 2 periods, it's Colgate 2, RIT 1. And it's Schenectady. Late in the second period, it's New Hampshire 3, Union 2.
Stay safe on nights this winter. If you are using fire, calls, free consultation, free advice, through hometown attorneys, free advice.
Two national championships for RPI, so plenty of history.
That was a big game for both these teams too, because if you think about it, if RPI hadn't won that first national championship, they may not still be playing Division I hockey today. And if Michigan had won that game, they very well would have had an amazing 6 national championships in a row. They already had a dynasty. They won 5 out of 6, but that one was the one that they didn't win. And it was thanks to the RPI Engineers.
We get set here for puck drop. Engineers from right to left as we begin the third period. Poked at and picked up by Liljegren at center ice, trying to chip it in. Wood, he gets upended. Taken over by the Wolverines. Moved on out into RPI territory. Karam's off the back wall. Prapavesis chopped at by Babella. That one leaves the ice, so we have a stoppage in play.
Not much time into the third period, just a handful of seconds. That's 21 if my math serves me correctly.
That's right.
But still looking for that jump that RPI needs. They've got to be on these pucks faster, and they've already gotten themselves pinned in their own zone.
Face off to the right of Kasdorf. Babella, well, he went in for the draw. Now Wood and Connor are being told to back off. They're at the near hash marks, the center hash marks. Win clean for the Wolverines. Shot right on the rebound. Puck pops in the air to the near side. Thrown back towards the middle of the ice. And now played behind the RPI goal. Wood shoots it off the glass to center, swatted out of the air by Downing. Shot in deep by the Engineers. It'll be traced down by Downing, near side of his own zone. Played it up the near wall for Connor. All the way down the ice it goes, and it will not be icing. Picked up Jared Wilson. Wilson leaves it behind the goal for Reno. Reno, near side from Melanson, caught it in his skates, plays it back to Reno. Reno will backtrack a bit, go back behind the net, far side with it for Wilson. Up the far boards in the air, Nanny just taps it out to center, where it's regathered by Nolan DeYoung. Near side, Boca. Taken over by Nanny, who go back to his own zone for Reno. Meticulous start for RPI as they look to move out of their own zone. A cross-ice pass. Melanson didn't like where his teammate was headed, I guess. As he taps the stick on the ice out to center. Nanny, quick pass near side. Melanson into the zone. At the hash mark, stops there, feeds it towards the net, sticked away off the far glass. Poke towards the point. Wolverines trying to break, and now they do. DeYoung into the zone. Drop pass there. Shot was blocked. It came off the stick of Calderon. Moore helps it to the corner. Run down there with Selman. Kept in at the far point. DeYoung, his cross-ice feed is broken up out to center. Saccone has it, throwing it far side. Flips to the RPI zone, played by the stick of Kasdorf. Up the far boards, off the skate of Bourbonnais, who's been pretty quiet so far this evening. Riley Bourbonnais, the team's goal-scoring leader with 3. As it's tracked down in the far corner. Hampton behind the goal. Gave Moore a lot to deal with. 2 forecheckers converging. He's able to play it off nicely. Now falling into Kasdorf. So the roar of applause was Kyle. Engineers back out the other way. Orval jumping into the play. Prapavesis pulls it back. Walking in Prapavesis to the backhand. Poked on goal. Still loose and wave it off. There are 5, 6, 7 players in the crease, and the net's behind the goal. We're going to need to sort this one out, Tom.
I don't know if he was just trying to elaborate for the sake of the referees seeing it, but Mike Prapavesis certainly thought that was in at some point. I'm not certain that it was.
At some point.
The net got knocked off its moorings. They're going to show us the overhead view to get a really good look at it, but the net was definitely crashed. Yeah, the net was well off before the puck was anywhere near it. Not a goal.
Think it went in.
I think that's one of those times when maybe you just kind of celebrate a little bit, plant that seed. But no, not a goal for the Engineers. They did crash well, and then they were creating, which is good to see here early in the third period. Words really can't describe the importance of that first goal. And we're going to probably have matching minors here. Comper's going off for the Wolverines. The crowd cheers that, but the door also opened for RPI as well. It probably should be. There was no real pure aggressor in that whole dust-up.
That's the right call. One each way is our guess.
And we just got to see who it's going to be for the Engineers. They're talking. The referees are talking it over. Somebody's certainly going off for RPI. We just haven't seen who it is yet.
Well, we know how this ends.
It's being reviewed, but the overhead view pretty clearly showed that the puck wasn't in the net by the time it was knocked off. So there's not much to see here.
Now the puck never clearly crossed the line ever, so I don't think this is going to be a very long review.
The penalty to Comfer is a roughing call, and the RPI penalty is to Jesper Orval. I would guess.
I'm not sure he's going to hit another penalty this year.
I would guess it's probably also a roughing call on Jesper Orval. And it is indeed a roughing. Matching roughing, so should be, I believe, a 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes, given that they happen on the same play. So,
yeah.
There's not really much to see. I mean, Prapavesis went to the net with it.
Yeah, it was a good play by Prapavesis to go to the net.
Yeah. Bourbonnais and Prapavesis kind of raised their arms as if there was a puck in, but the overhead shot is actually fairly conclusive.
It is.
The puck wasn't really anywhere near it. I mean, it was
Nagelvort made a save. It was between the legs of Tyrannys, and it went wide of the goal after the net came off.
I mean, it was over the line at some point, but it wasn't. It wasn't one where this should be considered a goal for RPI.
Absolutely not.
Really, what they should be focusing on now is the upcoming 4-on-4.
Yep.
Is going to be an opportunity on their own ice to show off their speed. And if RPI can utilize their speed effectively here, and Michigan's no slow pokes either, so this could be a kind of a wild and hairy 2 minutes coming up.
Face-off, one back to center ice, back to the Michigan zone, I should say. Picked up there by Connor. He'll skate it up the far side. Good play by Prapavesis to break it up at the red line. He'll carry in far side, drops it off. Man wasn't looking for it. That was Liljegren, who was kind of skating a little bit behind the play. That'll allow Michigan to take over. Connor, cross-ice feed. Lots of room over there to work. A drive by Downing. Big pad save. The rebound pops all of the zone as Bubella carries it on. Bubella throwing it in front, looking for Liljegren, who goes careening into the net. I think he went there on his own. The faceoff should come out of the zone.
Yeah, Liljegren had to reach for that one a little bit. The pass wasn't as crisp as he'd like it to be in that situation, but if it had been, good opportunity there for RPI. That's what we're talking about. In this 4-on-4, got a couple of speedy teams. This is exactly why, maybe I'm interjecting a little too much opinion here, but maybe college hockey ought to look to go into 4-on-4 overtimes, because this is exactly what you tend to see, especially when you have two skilled, speedy teams. You can see a lot of back and forth action and creating opportunities to score.
Face off in the Michigan zone, so they reversed the call. Initially they said out of the zone, but now they say in. Either way, the Wolverines win it. Moving it dangerously in front of their own net. Hampton swinging at it. Puck out to center. Taken over by Moore. He gets run into. Melanson has a man on the far side. He elects to carry it deep. Melanson all the way down low. Plays it back to Moore. Moore walking in. Takes a shot, and he missed it wide left. Kept it at the far point by Hampton. Fed up the wall. Nanny lets it run. Now to the corner. Fired looking for Moore, who had crashed all the way down low. It means there was almost nobody up top. It was just Hampton. And now a break for Connor. Connor moving in. A shot saved by Kasdorf. He stopped him on a partial break, and that'll get the crowd going. 50 seconds left to 4-on-4. Hampton into the zone. He's tied up and taken off the puck. Work free to Boca. Near side up the near wall. And now Marodi stops top of the circle, pull it back. Connor toe drag around Moore. Moore out in front, or make it Connor rather, is dumped, trying to go to the net. Penalty upcoming here on RPI. Off goes Nagelvoort. Engineers get a touch, and I think they're going to get more here. Somebody hauled down Connor when he was trying to drive that. It's going to be a trip. 15:57 left in the third. Engineers down 3-1, and they'll have to go on the kill here.
The first reaction I saw was of Chris Bradley sitting on the RPI bench. He just threw up his arms because it was not a good penalty, and it is going to be Mears Moore going off on this one. It was a good toe drag maneuver, but that's not really a good excuse for putting your man down, especially at 4-on-4.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 26 seconds of 4-on-3.
And RPI might be using his timeout now.
That might be a good opportunity to use that timeout, because they've got to make sure they've got the right personnel out there, that they're ready to go. 4-on-3, that's an awful lot of open ice to work with. And we already saw what both these teams were doing at 4-on-4. The way that was going, I wouldn't mind seeing the rest of this game at 4-on-4, to be honest with you. That was fun. But real key point now for the Engineers is to keep the puck, especially over this next 26 seconds. Keep the puck out of the net. Give themselves that opportunity to go for it after they get the penalty to Mears Moore killed off, assuming that they can.
Well, big clearance off the defensive zone draw for RPI, as Werenski is going to pick it up and skate out to center with it for the Wolverines. Near side for Marodi with speed. Stops at the near point. Cross-ice pass behind everybody. Diving play by Mott. Back to the point. Marodi near side. Drops it back near side. Circle. And now down low for Kyle. Werenski waiting. Feeding it in front. Shot. Save made by Kasdorf. Went post to post. Another one goes wide. Out of the box comes the two. It's now a 5-on-4 power play from a minute and a half. Babella clears it out to center. Backtracking to his own zone is Comfort. Comfort behind his own goal, stops there to avoid or elude Schrader, who was on the forechecking duties. Now he goes off in a change. Werenski to center, drop pass for Comfort. Comfort to the RPI line, broken up there. Swatted out to center by Wood. Michigan will have to regather at center. Far side, they're into the zone. Flipped in deep, first one to it. Wilson behind the goal, lets it run. Picked up there and cleared by Parker Reno all the way down the ice. Nagelvoort will stop it behind the cage. Starting things out is Downing. Down the middle. Into the RPI zone with speed. Poke check at Connor. Can't control the puck. Far side corner. Tie up Prapavesis. He's there with Calderon. Played towards the point, but it was away from Downing, who was towards the far side. Went down the middle of the ice.
He was the only one back there, too,
Yeah,
so it's hard to find the one guy there if it's going to squirt to the center.
Downing near side for Allen. Allen flips it into the zone, gets through a check of Schrader. Prapavesis ties up in the corner now. Selman broken up. Blade back to the point, a drive, glove saved by Kasdorf. We saw that one all the way. Downing a very long shot and didn't have a whole lot on it.
8 seconds left to the penalty to Mears Moore. Jason Kasdorf has looked very sharp here on this power play. That's what they need from their netminder. He hasn't had a real strong game in this one, but they're going to need him to be strong the rest of the way out if they're going to have a shot.
Well, they're going to need to put a 0 up here in this third period and hope the offense can find something. Face off to the right of Kasdorf, and now Schrader's pointing at, I think, maybe a divot or something, or it's Wood pointing at something in the ice. It has to be a hole of some kind that he didn't like. And the referees will just look at it and then move along. Babella on the draw. And it's won back by the Engineers. And here is Wood. Wood looking up ice, passes behind Babella, taken over by Martin. To center ice, kicked at Babella, back to his own zone. Liljegren up ahead, good connection to Babella. Babella into the zone, pulls it back, takes a wrister, hits some skates and sticks and never got to goal. Now a drive by Liljegren, puck was on edge, didn't catch it cleanly. It'll come down off the dasher far side. We get a whistle for some reason, and we're gonna have a face-off in the RPI zone. Say puck played with a high stick, played in the Michigan zone, I should say. 13:41 left in the third, 3-1 Wolverines.
And it's now officially go time for the Engineers. They're 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. That was an important one to get out of the way. But when you're down by 2, time gets precious quicker. They've only got a little under 14 minutes to get 2 of them. Try to force that overtime at least.
Behind the goal, DeYoung. Good outlet pass. Well, Kyle had it for a second. He gets back on it, trying to get by Bradley. Bradley cuts him off. Chris Bradley behind the goal. He's tied up there by Kyle. Played to the far corner. Melanson chipping off the boards. Can't get it past his man. Still in the corner. Comfort's there. Shakes off a Tierney's hit. In front, looking for the one-timer from Kyle. Didn't get it. Engineers trying to find the puck and just get out of the zone. Melanson trying to help it there with a skate. Can't do so. Tierney's tied up half wall there with Comfort. Poked free. Walking out. Shot by Mott. Blockered away by Kasdorf to the far side. Now to the near corner. First one to it, Prapavesis. Tried to scoop it out of the zone. That one will hit off of the glass. Actually went out of play right away, so we'll have a face-off in the RPI zone with under 13 to go.
Yep, 12:56. Michigan still holding that 3-1 edge. They picked that up with 2 goals in the second period, and it's worth mentioning they got those 2 goals in the second period in a period that I thought was really dominated by the Engineers. They only ended up with the 1.
Yeah.
It really has them behind the 8 ball here in the third period.
It's true.
As I just mentioned, time getting a little bit tight on RPI. They need 2. They have 13 minutes in which to do it.
Bradley behind for Prapavesis. Up the far boards. Played near side. And Bradley chopping at it. Nearly finds Melanson. Juggles it out of the air. Picked up at the near point. Melanson fanned on the cross ice feed. That'll allow Michigan to pick it up and flip it back into RPI territory. Parkerino there. Chips it off the boards. Not a lot on it. Taken over down low. And now moving it out in front. Shot went wide. Melanson chops down at the stick. Gotta be careful there. There's a shot driven over the top. Kasdorf fanned on the glove attempt. Luckily for him, it went over the net. And when we have a puck played with a high stick again, who do they get? Another Michigan player? If it is, it'll go all the way down the ice.
It's coming down. Looks like it's
maybe center ice. Who knows? We'll let them decide.
One thing the Engineers can learn from even a young player like Zach Wierenski is to be patient even when you've got a good opportunity to score. That puck came out to Wierenski at the point, had lots of open ice. He had a great shooting lane. He took his time and made a shot that didn't end up going in, but it was a good shot that would have counted. So sometimes you just got to be a little patient, not let your eyes get too big when you get a good scoring opportunity.
Gillespie knocked his man down. Gillespie's being very physical throughout the shift. He got it started before even the face-off began. I was watching him as they're tied up behind the Michigan goal. 12 minutes to go in the third. Scrapping for it and finally digging it out is Saccone. Trying to clear the zone, can't do so. Now they get it out to center. Schrader didn't realize there was a man behind him. It was Connor. And now breaking in is Selman. Selman centering pass. And good back check. I believe that's Gillespie. Went sliding into the corner boards. breaking up the play in the process. Fulton crosses center, dumps in. Around to the far corner it goes. Schrader, the lone goal scorer for RPI, slaps it back to the near side. Wood lets it run to Liljegren. Liljegren maneuvering up the board, stolen away by Connor. Connor flipping towards the line, out to center, picked up Liljegren. He'll turn it right back around into the zone, using that reach, turning and firing way wide. Caroms to the far side, half wall, Prapavesis. Prapavesis turning, chipping off the boards, trying to help it down low with Schrader. Fan in the first attempt, second attempt, no. Third attempt, yes. Glove down by Reno. Make it Liljegren. Turning, slapping at it, and keeping it in the zone for the time being as Danks gave it away. Wood had a chance to pass out of his reach. He'll pick it up in the near corner. Centering pass off a skate, glove down by Babella. Babella in the corner. Cross-ice feed to the point. Prapavesis waiting, feeding near side through Bradley, and picked up Connor, who's at the end of a shift. There's some tired Michigan legs out there. Babella drive. That one hit a body, and that was DeYoung who's down. Engineers trying to take advantage here. Shot off the back of the net by Babella. Caroms around to the far side. Wood back up top. Prapavesis back to Wood. Quick pass near side. Bradley firing on goal. Never got to Nagelvort. It is played around to the far side, but the Engineers keep it in. Prapavesis off the wall. Liljegren takes over the far point. Fed near side, intercepted by Connor, and they need a clear in the worst way to the Wolverines, and they get it from Danks. Prapavesis, far side of his own zone. Good spell for the Engineers. Can they build on it? Prapavesis near side. Good feet ahead for Babella. Still on the ice. Fires Nagelvort with an awkward save. And the Wolverines clear as they have Comfer on it, and he has speed and fresh legs into the zone. Fanned on the shot, got it right back and put it right into the pads of Kasdorf. Save made. Played behind here is Reno. Under 10 to go, third period, and a 3-1 Michigan lead. Out to center, Melanson. Ahead for Miller, picking up speed into the zone. Miller trying to drive the net, fed it on goal. Pad save made by Nagelvort, and Michigan's on the other end of it to clear back out to center. Kyle chipping in deep. Engineers back to pick it up. It's Reno. RPI needs to find one early, put pressure on this Wolverines team. Now being hooked a bit is Reno, plays it ahead for Nanny. Nanny fanned on the puck, shot back the other way, will be icing on Michigan, yes, and will have a stoppage in play with 9:24 to go in the third. It's 3-1 Michigan.
Engineers holding the zone well there a couple of minutes ago. Kept the Michigan players out there for a good minute and a half. Not only that, but DeYoung had a bum wheel after taking a shot off of his foot, and he was kind of limping around out there, but still doing the best that he could. But not only was Michigan tired after a while, the Engineers were looking a little tired there as well, and that didn't end up coming to anything for RPI.
Behind the goal, Bourbonnais trying to shield the puck, hands it off for Moore. Moore for Orville. Penalty coming up on Michigan, as now Moore is dumped behind the goal, and we're going to get a touch and at least one. It's going to be a holding call on Michigan here, so a prime opportunity for the Engineers with 9:06 to go.
Yeah, and Michigan's going to be lucky to only take one here, as they could have well taken another one for holding Moore down on the ice in order to get the whistle. Saccone, the guilty party, he's going off for holding. So with 9:06 left in the third period, RPI with a make-or-break power play coming up. They've had the flow of play in the last 3 or 4 minutes or so. They've been holding possession well. Now they need to find a way to cash in with the man advantage. They're 0 for 2 so far this evening. All 4 goals have come at even strength. But if the Engineers can build on the momentum that they've had, and they've been taking the chances that they need to be taking at this point. They've been leaving a couple of lanes open in case of turnovers. Michigan could counterattack fairly easily, but when you're down by 2 with 9 minutes left, you have to be taking those chances, and it's good to see RPI going for it here. But this really is going to be a make-or-break time for the Engineers. If they score on this power play, the game is wide open. If they can't get it through, it's going to make it an awful lot harder to climb back into it.
Face-off defensive zone win for the Wolverines, but it's fired all the way around. Moore picks it up at the point. Down low, Engineers fired off the back wall. I'd like to remind you are listening to live coverage of RPI Hockey, 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy, as the Wolverines cleared all the way down on the kill. Now losing the puck behind the net was Moore. He overskated. Mott doing the shorthanded duties, and he'll pin the puck against the boards on the far side and waste some time. Engineers trying to scoop it out of there. Fans don't like it, but it's exactly what Mott was trying to do, and he killed a good 15-20 seconds on his own. Prapavesis now behind the goal. Starting things out. Down the middle of the ice, Prapavesis settles a rolling puck, plays it near side for Moore, who dumps it in. Played behind, Nagelvort has it, trying the far side. Wood breaks it up. Wood behind the net. He'll rattle it all the way around to the near point where Mears Moore stops it there. Down the wall for Wood. Back up top, connects there to Prapavestis. Trades places with Moore. Near side, Wood. Wood towards goal, looking for the deflection from Liljegren. Went right through his legs. Now down low, they find Prapavestis for Wilson. Back up top. Moore, a shot deflected in the air and high off the glass to the point. Moore there. He's tied up, and De Jong just trying to pin it against the wall in the Michigan zone now. 45 seconds to go in the RPI power play, which is 0-4-2 so far. To the point now, Prapavestis. Pressure comes, chips it up the wall. Good play on the stick. Good strong stick from Liljegren. Works it down low. Waiting down low, walking in. Wood, he scores! Jake Wood on the power play, and it's a one-goal game.
Excellent move by Jake Wood to take advantage of what he saw in front of him. Nolan De Jong flew pretty much head over heels. I don't know if he's still feeling the effects of that shot he took off of his skate, but he blew a wheel right there and gave Jake Wood all the room that he needed to maneuver. He went right past De Jong, who was still trying to get up, cut right to the net, put it past Nagelvoort. That's what RPI needed. That's what they wanted. They've cut the lead again in half. It's 3-2 with 7:33 left in the third period.
Face-off, neutral zone, Engineers have it. So 1 for 3 now, RPI on the power play. Came in at 20% on the season. A small sample size, sure, but better than years past, certainly for RPI in that regard. And they've been moving the puck well tonight. Melanson, an outlet pass to Schrader. Schrader into the zone, poked off his stick nicely, and the Wolverines are back out the other way. Shot back into Michigan territory. Back to get it is Downing. Tie up in the corner, hits off of the linesman. Reno keeps it in. And this will be gloved down at center, and we get a whistle. It's a little bit of a late whistle, but a stoppage of play nonetheless. So RPI, Tom, scores this goal they're so desperately needed to pull within one. Now the sticks start to tighten on the Michigan sideline. When you have a 2-goal lead, it's a little bit, you can play a little bit more careful.
Can I be stereotypical?
Yes, you can.
Worst lead in hockey, right? 2-goal lead is the worst lead because when you give that goal up, suddenly it's, the other team's coming back. The Michigan now needs to do what they can to stem RPI's momentum, because RPI had momentum heading into that power play. They get the goal there, really almost exactly the same way that Michigan got their third goal. It was a good break that they were able to take advantage of. In this case, Jake Wood tipped, excellent break of his man basically just exploding in front of him. Went in there, cut right to the net, put it past Nagelvoort. So we have a game again, and if you're Michigan, it's a little bit disconcerting because you had that cushion. Now there's no more room for error. They let one in, and they're gonna need to fight back themselves at some point. They saw it happen last night. The Dutchmen had a 2-goal lead. They blew it. End up going into overtime. They know it can happen to them as well, and they could potentially be seeing it directly in front of them if they can't stem the tide, which is currently in RPI's favor.
6:56 to go. 5 skaters aside. Face off in the Michigan zone. Prapavestis' shot hits a body. It was Mott who did the blocking, and he'll fire it all the way down the ice. It will, yes, be icing. Okay. Prapavestis looked like he was kind of skating through a pile of snow there on his way down the ice, but did enough to not make it there before the puck, and it'll be an icing call on Michigan.
RPI's second goal of the game, a power play tally by Jake Wood, his second of the season, and also his second on special teams. His first one was a shorthanded goal. The lone assist on the goal coming from freshman Mears Moore.
Face off to the right of Nagelvoort. These Wolverines beat Mercyhurst 3-2 in his only other start this year. Tierney's picks up a loose puck far side of the Michigan zone as RPI continues to attack here. Now picked out of the pile by Tyler Mott. He'll feed it ahead. Alex Kyle to the blue line. He'll ring it in. All the way around to the far point it goes. Prapavestis over there. Kicking at it was Danks. Taken over by Babella. Milos Babella up the near side. He'll drop it off for Moore. Cross ice feed. Finds Prapavestis. Prapavestis up the wall. Tapped in deep by Bourbonnais. Around behind it goes. Taking a hit there, but feeding it on further was Boca for Michigan. Connor, cross ice pass, finds De Jong. Ahead for Danks. Broken up at the line and carried in now by Connor for Michigan. Driving behind the goal. Looking for the wraparound. Threw it all the way through. Far side collected by Selman. Kept in de Jong at the far point. Now Danks. Near side circle for Connor. Cross ice feed connects to de Jong. A shot off the back wall. 5:40 left in the third. 3-2 is the Michigan lead. Boca back at center. Flips into the RPI zone. Race for the puck. First one to it's Chris Bradley. Bradley pinned against the wall. Spinning around in the corner of Marodi. Trying to wrangle a loose puck with Gillespie. And now taken over by Gillespie, played behind, and now Hampton ahead for Nanny. Nanny stick handling off the wall, trying to find Miller. He'll pick it up in the near corner of the Michigan zone. Played around far side. Gillespie had his man tied up. Marodi gave it away. Walking in front. A shot by Pravovesas hits bodies and goes high and wide. Still a pile up in front of the goal. Players still down. Miller gets whacked, thrown all the way through, picked up Pravovesas. Pravovesas trying to pick the puck away. Now a chance to break for Michigan. 3-on-1. Calderon in the zone. Drop pack across. Calderon can't handle the feed back. And the play goes by the wayside. It was a 3-on-1, poorly executed by the Wolverines. Now Comfort takes a hit at the far boards. Calderon can't control. Engineers finally pick it up in the neutral zone. Give it away. Mott into the RPI zone. Trying to walk through some stick checks. Puck comes trickling to the near side. Liljegren just off the bench picks it up for RPI. 4.5 to go in the third. 3-2 Michigan leading. RPI has it in their own end. It's Moore. Moore down the middle, connection off the stick of Wood. He's pulled the Engineers to within 3-2 with his power play goal a couple minutes ago. Kept in at the point, Bradley, shot saved by Nagelvort, kick to the far side. Babella chopping at it, can't control, picked up by Liljegren. And Michigan clears out to center, glove down there by Wilson. He'll go across neutral zone to his defensive partner Bradley. Up ahead for Wood, into the zone, played behind the Michigan goal. Nagelvort leaves it there, taken away Liljegren, jab, try, no! As Nagelvort got over with a left pad. Move it out to center by Danks. He'll fire it all the way down. Stopped there by Kasdorf. He'll ring it near side. Stopped up by Wood. Wood takes a look up ice in the air. Tipped into the zone nicely by Schrader. That puck was about 1.5 feet off the ground. Near side, Michigan has it. Connor, cross ice feed far side. To center they go for Danks. Danks to center with it. Moving in, he'll chip it into the near corner. First one to it's going to be Connor for Michigan. Towards the point, Boca slaps it right back down low. Bouncing puck corralled by Connor. Connor spinning away from Moore. Behind the goal it goes, taken away by Mears Moore. He'll play it off the far glass, and no, he doesn't. He missed the glass entirely out of play.
Michigan's in a position where they shouldn't be taking extra chances, but they need to be a little more aggressive here. They seem to be kind of, I don't want to say turtling, but they're focusing a lot more on defense, and I don't think that's the way that this team is going to really win this game is by focusing on defense with a 1-goal lead. They need to be a little more aggressive and really take it to RPI, keep them back on their heels a little bit and force them to play some defense.
Shot right off the draw, goes high and wide off the stick of Calderon. Behind the goal now, Marodi, run into by Schrader. Coming to help out Tony Calderon. He has a goal tonight for Michigan. Marodi, spinning at the half wall. He'll just play it further down low. Michigan fine with this offensive zone possession and 3 minutes to go and a 1-goal lead. Calderon off the boards, absorbed the hit, throws it on goal, tipped in. Redirected by Brendan Warren, his second of the game, and it's a 4-2 lead. And we're getting a penalty, I believe, on RPI here.
And it's going to be
on top of things.
Evan Tiernese is going to be done for the night. He flung his stick after that goal was scored. Not the reaction that any player, freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior should have. Obviously disappointing for RPI to give one up right there. Michigan doing a little more of what I actually said they should do, be a little bit more aggressive, but they didn't even have to be that aggressive. They won the face-off in the RPI zone, really just kind of played keep away for a while and scored basically on an opportunistic shot. That should seal this one up tight. Tiernese is going to take a 10-minute misconduct penalty. But that will be all. So with 2:56 left in this one, Michigan again has a 2-goal lead, 4-2.
Up ahead, Bourbonnais. We'll see if the Engineers come with Kasdorf for an extra attacker here. He's halfway out of the net. Bradley has it far point. Holding, waiting, firing through traffic. Nagelvort makes the save. He tried to play it, but was probably smarter to get the whistle there because he just threw it right to Wilson. And now Kasdorf comes off. 2:41 to go. Engineers an empty net. Down 2.
Might as well go for it. I mean, they haven't embarrassed themselves here tonight. They've played pretty well for the most part. They had their ups and downs, but they didn't get blown out of the building. So why not give it a shot? Seth Appert's never been hesitant to pull his netminder down too, especially at home.
Puck out to center, picked up by Wilson. Dangerous spot for it. Gillespie plays it into the near side. He'll chase it down himself. Gillespie takes a whack there from Werenski to the point. Wilson, far side. Bradley through traffic, deflects high in the air behind the goal. Werenski has it. He'll wait and play it off bodies. Never got it out of the zone. Taken over by Wilson. There's a big scrum for it, and it goes back behind the goal. Bourbonnais throwing it in front off a skate. Wilson didn't even know anything about it. Play it out to the far point now. Bradley holding, far side, hands it off. Back to Nanny, threw it into the skates. He did a great job by Nanny to get it back to Bradley. Deflected just wide as Miller got his stick on him. The try from Bradley. Bradley now holding, far side, one-timer. That one hit bodies, hit Comfort, and he'll scoop it out to center. And he looks for the empty net goal. It misses wide, and icing on Michigan. Wasn't a bad idea from Comfort, but he had a little bit too much mustard on it in the end and got the icing call.
As well, you're up by 2. You have that cushion back again. Take a pot shot. That's one of the downsides to having the empty net down by 2. The teams are more willing to make the icing because they have more of a cushion. That cushion provided by Brendan Warren is second of the game. The lone assist to Tony Calderon, a 17:04 of the third period, and even a strength goal gives Michigan a 4-2 lead as they call timeout with 1:48 remaining in regulation. The Wolverines looking to get out of here with a victory. It would be their third of the season. And not looking terribly good for the Engineers, but as I said, they were not embarrassed here against one of the power teams in the nation. That's no matter what happens here, unless something really unravels here late. It's hard to say that they really got embarrassed here. RPI, sometimes that's all you really want against a really top team.
RPI TV is giving us the feed of the head coaches, and talking about the head coaches that have been here in this building over the last 3 weeks. You have obviously Red Berenson tonight, 32nd year as the head coach of Michigan, and you have Jerry York from BC. Exactly. They're 1-4, I think, in all-time wins in college hockey history. It's not a bad start to the season as far as opposition for RPI.
South Africa's never backed down when it comes to assembling a non-conference schedule. You see some teams in the East, they schedule a couple of games against Sacred Heart, American International, some of these tomato cans that can set up and make their team feel good heading into the ECAC schedule with a solid win-loss record. RPI really has never done that under South Africa. They're willing to play the very best and hope that it translates into better play in the ECAC.
RPI still with no goaltender, 6 skaters out there as Michigan will pick up the puck in the neutral zone, and a free play here from Mott. He'll walk it right into the net and swat it into an empty net. It's 5-2 on the empty net goal.
We see that happening quite a bit with the Engineers, where they have these games that they lose by 3, and you take a look at it, and you have to really look at the box score in order to see it, because in the morning it's going to look like RPI lost by 3. They were soundly defeated by Michigan, but if you really look at how this game played out, with close to 3 minutes left, they were only down by 1. They were driving for it, and then they weren't able to keep up with the puck in their own end, and that's what cost them this game, was just spot moments where they weren't keeping up with Michigan's drive, whether it was at the beginning of periods or right there in a moment where they really needed to take the puck back and get it back down the ice.
Kept in near point by Jared Wilson, finds Fulton looking for the redirection from Gillespie. Didn't get it, went right through him. Chipped out to center ice now. Fulton gloves it down. Fulton with the puck, stick handling through Wolverines, still going. Now he just gets dumped as Martin had seen enough. Back to center now. Into the zone they come as Stewart. He's tied up by Wilson. Drop pass comes all the way through. Shot by Boca, blocked by Bourbonnais. Boca gets back on it. He fans on that shot. And now Fulton has it, just moving out to center with 50 seconds to go here. Played up the far wall, moved into the zone. There's Danks. He gets knocked down. Engineers head back the other way. Melanson through the neutral zone, takes a look around. Tried to dump it in, but he fanned on it. He gets knocked down by Marodi. 32 seconds to play. Shot in by Reno. Comes down off the dasher near side. Melanson had it for a second. Threw it in front. Looking for the deflection. Never got it. Bouncing puck at center. Played on. Reno erased for the puck. Out comes Kasdorf. And be careful there. But he's able to knock it free. Near side. Flipped in the air. Out to center ice. Bouncing puck. Trying to knock it out of the air was Calderon. Gets some pressure from Nanny. Played it cross ice. Ahead and in deep by Warren. And under other circumstances would have been an icing, but we're going to get a whistle here I'm not sure what for. 0.5 seconds left. Probably should just let this run off.
Well, the Michigan players seem like
Yep.
they're ready for it to run off as the entire team has taken the ice.
And this feeling is mutual as both teams are on the ice, and they'll just run the final 0.5 off. A 5-2 Michigan win, but as Tom alluded to just a few moments ago, much closer than that.
Final goal for Michigan. Empty net goal by Tyler Mott, his second of the game, fourth of the season. Assists to Justin Selman and Kyle Connor at 18:26 of the third period. Led to the final score in this one, Michigan 5, RPI 2, but as I mentioned, the final score not really indicative of the way this game went. I can compare this to something from last night, a game I watched. I had some personal interest in the St. Cloud Quinnipiac game last night. Had the exact same final. Quinnipiac defeated the Huskies 5-2, but that was a game that Quinnipiac took it to St. Cloud. They got down 2-0 early, but then they came back, played real well, scored 5 quality goals, really took it to St. Cloud. That 5-2 was a solid, dominating performance by Quinnipiac, but if you look at this 5-2 score, not the same game. You really have to look into the box score to see how it all rolls out, but 99% of the people who look at this game are not going to go that far. They're going to see a 5-2 victory for Michigan and say, oh, Michigan probably went in there, really took care of business, got it done. They're not going to see that RPI was down by 1, driving for that tying goal late, only to give up 1 and then an empty netter to make it the ultimate 3-goal game. So appearances can be deceiving. I think here tonight the Engineers again did not really embarrass themselves. I thought, other than a childish move by a freshman there at the very end, stuff like that should really never happen. Threw his stick after a goal. Someone can get hurt doing that. Not smart. He actually hit a referee with his stick. That was probably what led to the
more than anything else,
getting thrown a dime there. But yeah, I mean, if you're RPI, this was always going to be a hard game to win. Maybe you get a little bit of extra, thought of we can do this. If you look at the way that they opened their home schedule by defeating Boston College, that it can happen. It's just that it's not going to happen on a nightly basis. So the RPI and Boston College play 10 games. Boston College probably win 8 or 9 of them. So to play this way and have the game turn out like this, not a terrible situation for RPI. The question now is, how do they move on? The games that really are of the utmost importance start next weekend, and when it comes to Union, those games take on a life of their own as well. So the way that they can carry themselves forward from the effort that they put in here tonight, whether it was win, lose, or draw, it's how they come out of this game and apply it to games in the near future, especially considering that they have Union, Clarkson, and St. Lawrence coming up. That's crucial. And the next 6 games are going to set the pace for the season. You have 3 of them at home, 3 of them on the road. It's go time for the Engineers. They got to apply what they've learned in these early games and really make them work when they count.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how RPI does bounce back from this one. Some decent showings here as far as the middle period. I thought, I think you agree, RPI showed some good signs, but they really have to start putting more stretches together like that.
The offense has to be a little more cohesive. That's really the problem. There's not a problem with who can score goals. I can go up and down this lineup and tell you guys that are going to score goals at some point. Seth Apper likes to do it when I ask him about it. But I mean, you're going to sit here and tell me that a team that has Victor Liljegren, Riley Bourbonnais, Lou Nanny, Drew Melanson, these guys have shown flashes where they're very good at being able to put the pucks in the net, but more of them need to be able to do it on a more regular basis. And that's where that cohesiveness comes in. A more cohesive team, these guys will score more goals. It's just a matter of getting to that point, and they don't seem to be there yet.
Yeah, and there's still a long way to go as far as the season goes, and certainly not the finished product. You look at a guy like Victor Liljegren, who showed plenty of promise last year, doesn't have a point yet. Unless he got one tonight.
He had an assist tonight.
Yes, it's nice. We got his first point tonight, but yeah,
they added him to the Jake Wood goal.
Okay, so I mean, RPI, he was kind of a bit of the engine that helped RPI in the positive stretches last year. Need to get him going. Obviously, Jesper Orval, who's shown some positive things.
Yeah, he's still a little raw.
A little bit raw as far as some of the decision making. It's a lot of it's decision making, and in a game when you're playing these high profile games, everything gets put under a microscope. And I think some of the younger guys are kind of feeling some of that added pressure. You need to find a way to get that pressure, taken off of them, put on the shoulders of the seniors, and try to turn things around in that regard. But like I said, still a long way to go. No reason to feel anything too disheartening for this squad so far.
Yeah,
they played some great competition so far as well, and they've gone on obviously a long Alaska trip.
Under adverse situations. I mean, Alaska, the Alaska still is not among the best teams in the country, but it's a long way up there. It's not easy to turn around and play a game. Just moved across 4 time zones. So I mean, this is a team that's facing adversity early, and these are the types of games where if you can win them, that's great. That puts you in a good spot for competing for that at-large bid. But a team like this, it was it's an unfancied team. Look, the coaches and the media both said this team is among the lower-end teams in the ECAC. A team with those kind of expectations is not going into these games saying, oh, we got to beat these teams because it's going to come back and bite us in February. If they're going to go to the national tournament, that's what every team wants to do. This team's road to the national tournament goes through Lake Placid, and to do that, the more important games, to me anyway, end up being the games that are starting next weekend, the ECAC games. So in that sense, these games, while not exhibition games, are really building to that. So what they can carry out of the adversity they faced in playing 2 really strong Hockey East teams the first weekend, taking a long road trip to Alaska last weekend, and then taking on a very high-energy team in their own house against Michigan tonight. That's their preparation for playing Union next weekend, and we'll have to see how good that preparation was. We'll run down the scoring real quick, and then I'll select my engineers of the game. The first goal in this one came at 2:40 of the first period. Michigan's Brennan Warren scoring the first goal of his collegiate career from Cooper Marody and Cutler Martin. Even strength goal made it 1-0 in favor of Michigan. The second goal of the game came early in the second period as Michigan scored again. Tyler Mott, his 3rd of the year, from Alex Kyle. Even strength goal made it 2-rip. RPI gets on the board at 5:03 of the second period. Zach Schrader putting home a rebound on a Travis Fulton shot. Parker Reno with the initial shot on that one, getting credit for the second assist, made it 2-1 in favor of Michigan. But Michigan would get the crucial 3rd goal in this one. 15:11 of the second period. Tony Calderon from Joseph Ciccone on a bad bounce for the Engineers, made it 3-1. Jake Wood, midway through the 3rd period, cut the lead back in half with a power play goal. His 2nd of the year came at 12:27 of the 3rd period. The assists were changed. Originally it was to Mears Moore. The assists now to Victor Liljegren, his 1st assist of the season, and Mike Prapavesis, his 3rd of the season. Cut it to 3-2, but Michigan got the next one at 17:04 of the 3rd period. Brendan Warren, his 2nd of the night, came from Tony Calderon, made it 4-2, and they locked it up at 18:26 with Tyler Mott's 2nd goal of the night, his 4th of the season. An empty netter from Justin Selman and Kyle Connor to seal the victory up 5-2 for the Wolverines. Jason Kasdorf takes the loss in net for RPI. He made 23 saves on 27 shots, the last one being the empty netter. Zach Nagelvort picks up the victory in net for Michigan. He made 19 saves on 21 RPI shots. The Engineers 1 for 3 on the power play tonight. Michigan was 0 for 2 on the man advantage. RPI also picked up an extra penalty shortly after the 2nd goal by Brennan Warren, as Evan Tyrannese was issued a 10-minute misconduct at 17:04 for throwing his stick.
Yeah, of course. Sorry, but we got the internet working. We did.
Well, defensively for the Engineers, I pointed out early in this game, and it ended up kind of being a little bit prophetic because he helped create a goal with his work, but he also had some good defensive work as well. That's what he's here for. It's what he does real well. Parker Reno, he's a guy that you don't hear an awful lot of, but usually when you don't hear his name very frequently, it means he's doing his job well. And he also managed to put himself in a position to create scoring opportunities for the Engineers tonight. That's part of being a good defenseman, and for that, kind of puts him over the top for me. Parker Reno, my defensive engineer of the game. And my offensive engineer of the game with a goal tonight on the power play. He's really starting to come into his own offensively. He's a guy that when he was recruited to be a guy who was going to score goals. In his first 2 years here, there was a lot of frustration when it came to Jake Wood. I heard from a lot of fans saying, especially towards the end of last year, where he was taking a lot of bad penalties, where he was putting his team in a bad place because he was taking penalties that weren't worthwhile. He was in the penalty box. He was giving up penalty kills when RPI at least needed it. I heard from people, what's he doing? He's a liability out there. Get him out of the game. But he stuck with it. Seth Appert has stuck with him, and is here early in the 2015-2016 season is starting to pay off. He's really starting to blossom as a forward. He sees his opportunities like he did last weekend against Alaska Fairbanks, where he scored a shorthanded goal by being in the right place in the right time and jumping on a puck. He did the same thing here tonight by scoring a goal where he saw an opportunity in front of him. Defensive player explodes in front of him, and he cuts around him, cuts to the net, and puts the puck in. That's what this team needs, is to be able to exploit problems for the other team, and that's what Jake Wood has done in both of these last 2 games by scoring special teams goals in each of the Engineers' last 2 outings. So Jake Wood, my RPI offensive player of the game. Before we take off, we want to be sure to thank the Rensselaer Union. They provide the funding for WRPI and all the club-related activity of the Institute, including WRPI's coverage of RPI hockey, football, and baseball. Reminder, WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org, and you pick up WRPI's broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so long as WRPI is broadcasting. We provide that broadcast on our internet feed. Once again, that is WRPI.org. WRPI Sports is seeking current RPI students. Make live calls of RPI athletic events such as this one. There are opportunities this season to get on the air for men's and women's hockey. For more information or to express interest, contact us at WRPI-sports at rpi.edu. I want to thank Eric back at the station for getting us out on the air and keeping us out there. Our next WRPI broadcast will be this coming Friday, October 30th, as the RPI Engineers travel up Route 7 to scenic Schenectady, New York. Gorgeous, scenic Schenectady, New York, to take on the Union Dutchmen in the first half of the Route 7 rivalry at Mesa Rink on the campus of Union College. Puck drop for that game is at 7 p.m. Our on-air time should be closer to 6:45. So, for Perry Lascaris, my name is Tom Reel. Your final score from Houston Fieldhouse on a sellout night in Troy. You watch the RPI Engineers fall to the Michigan Wolverines by a score of 5-2. You've been listening to live coverage of Engineers hockey at 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.